power. In the NHL's hierarchy, no team displays it like the Boston Bruins. That is their identity. Of the Eastern Conference elite, they've been there, done that. But all reigns must come to an end. Unable to infuse their authority, the Bruins teeter on playoffs' edge. Tonight, in the face of this adversity, it's a must-win in oil country. While Edmonton's youth has come around in recent weeks, it still looks to the future. Maybe Boston's time will come soon. Can you believe this? It's been almost 15 years since the Oilers beat the Bruins at home. A 10-game stretch of Boston domination that Edmonton will try to end tonight. Back home after a 6-game road trip in which the Edmonton Oilers picked up points in 3 of those contests. Now they reload, get ready for the Boston Bruins, who are not a happy bunch tonight. Goaltending, a big part of both halves of our doubleheader on Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey. Ottawa to Edmonton. To tell that story, here's Cassie Campbell-Pascal. Cassie.
Thanks, Darren, and we'll start with the Edmonton Oilers. Ben Scrivens returns after missing 4 games with a hamstring injury. His last game, a win against the New Jersey Devils, but the Oilers will be without Rob Klinkhammer, who will miss his 2nd straight, dealing with the pregnancy the birth of his first child, a boy. He is expected, though, to be back in Edmonton tonight. Luke Gatzek will not play either because of the hit that he took Monday. Dustin Byfuglien and Winnipeg Jets. But good news, Matt Hendricks will return. He's missed 2 games with injury. Keith Aulie will be out, and Martin Marincin will be in. Now, the big top secret of the day, will Malcolm Subban play for the Boston Bruins tonight? Well, I can tell you this. He will not play. The 24th pick overall in the 2012 draft will not play, but expected to play on this road trip either against St. Louis or Chicago. It'll be Tuukka Rask who gets his 24th appearance in the last 25 games for the Boston Bruins, so a lot of minutes for him. They'll also be without defenseman Kevin Miller. He was injured Monday against the Calgary Flames. He was sent back to Boston, not expected to play on this road trip, and who knows if he'll play for the rest of the season. Adam McQuaid draws back in. Let's go back to Darren Millar.
All right, Cassie, thank you very much. Just slid down the old banister and with the Hockey Central team, Doug McLean, Nick Kiprios. You're looking for the banister, aren't you?
Looking for the bat ball. That's right.
And Darren Pang.
That's a John Shannon banister.
Nail Yakupov is still well off his career highs and that kind of pace, but he has played much better lately.
Well, there's a couple of reasons, and obviously one is he's one guy that's really benefited from the coaching change. There's no doubt about that. But he's also benefited from the fact that Roy has come from Nashville, and they've been a hit together. This is critical for the Oilers to get this kid going, and he's been good, especially the last 5 games. Minus 27 still, but it was real important for this franchise that this kid finished strong. Nice combination. His lines played well.
Would you consider trading him at all with them trending upward?
I think that always has to depend on what the offer is coming back. I mean, you still have a great asset in Yakupov. There are many questions about the way he plays. There are many questions about how eager he is to go in the corners, how to win battles. I'd like to see him in big games, in big moments. And for Yakupov, there's no question that he's got skill. As a left-hand shot on the right side, typical Russian player, likes to get it on the one-timer on that side. But you still have to compete harder every single night to show what kind of player you are.
Jeff Petrie is in play.
Could McTavish be on the phone right now with Marc Bergevin, watching what just happened in Ottawa with the Montreal Canadiens defense? I think Petrie would be a perfect fit in Montreal. A guy at 6'3", a right-handed shot. We know how valuable those guys are. Can play 20 minutes a night. A shutdown guy. A guy that could complement Markov and PK Subban quite well here. It's only a matter of time before he's an ex-Edmonton Oiler. I think McTavish is sitting on a few offers.
Things are starting to jam up in the Eastern Conference right now, and that's bad news for the Boston Bruins because Florida is 2 points back, and they're going to take on that injury-depleted Montreal Canadiens lineup tomorrow night. Boston's lost 4 in a row for the first time since last season. they're in a real bad spot right now.
Yeah, and they need their owner to come out again and call them out to try to get them going again. But seriously, they need Tuukka Rask to take a step here and win them a game.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been able to do that lately. But look at Krejci with 7 goals. Lucic with 11 goals. I mean, come on, these are their stars. Chera has not been the same player, obviously, at 37 years of age. They need some people to step up. They need their big guys to step up.
Is there anyone with more pressure going into a trade deadline than Peter Chiarelli right now? Can you think of another general manager?
He's really
Cap issues are...
He needs to
He has to make hockey
alleviate it
deals.
first.
Right.
He's got to lose some money in the salary cap before he can add.
You worry about Marc Bergevin, but Pete, he's really up against it because he has the cap issues. And also, what's happening is a lot of teams are looking for defensemen. There's a half a dozen teams that are crying for defense, so that puts pressure on everybody.
How do you explain
Well,
this
maybe
team?
move Seidenberg, moves that contract out. He's got to free up some space here.
They were struggling. The owner comes out, challenges them. Then they go on a great run in January. This is a veteran team. They shouldn't be going through these highs and lows.
What's unexplainable is their road power play. I mean, how can this team have a road power play of 10.8%? It's 29th worst in the National Hockey League on the road. I just think that the amount of injuries that Krejci's been a terrific playoff performer. When big games are there, he's been a great player. I just think they're worn down. They're not the biggest of centermen, and I think the way that they play that 200-foot game, I just think for this year it's an aberration, and they're out of gas.
Tuukka Rask, boys, he's the key here.
Yep.
He was terrific in January. Everything was fine. And now he's 1-4-1 in February, not getting it done.
9 of 10. That's the stretch they're in against Western Conference opponents, so it's not getting any easier. St. Louis and Chicago on the other side of this clash against the Edmonton Oilers. They're getting ready. Boston trying to break out against the Oilers, who are back home. Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey continues on Sportsnet.
This period brought to you by Honda, the official vehicle of the NHL. We love the game as much as you.
Doubleheader in Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey. Action also on Sportsnet 1 with Calgary, Minnesota. We'll keep you up to date on that one. Right now to Edmonton, Dave Randorf and Craig Simpson.
Thank you very much, Darren. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Edmonton, where the Oilers are back on home ice for the first time in a couple of weeks after a 6-game road trip that saw them go 2-3-1. There were some positives to build on, like a hard-fought points Monday in Winnipeg. The Boston Bruins have lost 4 in a row. There was talk that Malcolm Subban could start tonight, but Claude Julien is going with his undisputed number 1. He's played an awful lot, and he is a perfect 4-0 in his career against the Oilers. Down at the other end, Ben Scrivens has 10 wins of the season. 9 of them have come here at Rexall Place. He's been out of the lineup for the last 4 games with a hamstring injury, but he is ready to go tonight, and they need him because Victor Faust is now hurt. The referees are Ian Walsh and Dan O'Rourke. Lonnie Cameron and Steve Miller are the linesmen. The Boston Bruins, the first test for the Oilers as they get back on home ice. A group that's in a foul move, playing his... We're talking the season right now, the wrong time of the season. That blast was tipped into the corner and is picked up on the fly by Marchand. Gets it back to Seidenberg. His drive tip and bounces off of the inboards where it's picked up by Eero Pakarinen. He gets to the center ice, but not much further. Here is Seidenberg. Pass intercepted there by Matt Hendricks, who's back in the lineup after missing a couple of games. Finds the open man, Petru snaps that one in on Rask, and he will hang on for the faceoff.
Well, you heard all the guys talking about the decision Claude Julien had to make, and to me it is an interesting one. I think this is the type of game coming off back-to-back losses for Tuukka Rask. First time he all year has given up 4 goals in consecutive games, and for Subban, I thought this would be a great opportunity to challenge his team, to make his team come up with an effort for a young goaltender, instead going with the percentages. And Dave, I think a lot of it has to do with having some respect for Tuukka Rask. Give him an opportunity to get some confidence. It's hard to imagine Rask wouldn't have any. But as I said, this year, the first time he's gone back-to-back, giving up 4, Subban will have to wait till later in this road trip.
Well, the one thing that is for certain is that Rask does need a rest. He's starting for the 14th time in the last 15 games. He's played in all 15 because Nicholas Svedberg, the regular backup, has been pulled in his last couple of starts. There's a quick chance around the Bruins net, and Mark Fane steps up there. Hendricks waits for the puck in behind the goal. Riley Smith digs it out and then gets it away to David Krejci. Krejci to center, has it banged away, and it's back into the Bruins zone. Chara goes across to Adam McQuaid, who's back in the lineup on a regular basis after missing a long stretch. One of many Bruins who's battled injuries this year. He missed close to 20 games with a broken thumb. That pass is picked off and skated away. In over the blue line, that is Smith. And he couldn't step around Klefbom. Smith still in the corner looking for it, trying to center it out in front for Bergeron. Loose for Seidenberg, and he whistles one wide over the glove of Scrivens. Dougie Hamilton's shot reaches the net. Goes into the corner where Bergeron keeps it moving for Brad Marchand. Marchand turns and spins. Shot is blocked right in front of Scrivens and cleared by Edmonton. And that is offside of the Boston blue line.
So much has been made about coming back from a road trip. I can tell you personally as a player, it always seemed to be a difficult time, and Todd Nelson felt this morning he just wanted to get everybody into the game quickly. 30-second shifts, roll all four lines, and the importance of Ben Scrivens having a good start to this game. Give his team some footing underneath them, a little bit of confidence, and get your legs after being on the road for 6 games.
McQuaid goes up. That is Chris Kelly tipping it inside the Bruins line. Derek Roy back there for it. And back to Scrivens, who confidently plays it into the corner for the former Boston Bruin. Andrew Ference played 7 years in Boston. Went to 2 Stanley Cup finals. For the A there as he wears the C here. Here's Kelly. Centers it out in front. Pastrnak in front. Great stop by Scrivens as he flips out that pad and kicks out his first big save of the night. How's that for a response? David Pastrnak with a wrist shot and the scoops save there by Scrivens. He'll hang on.
Well, right on cue, the goaltender comes up with a huge save, and this is one that a turnover, something you can't do against this Bruin team, just outside the defensive blue line, cross-seam pass, and excellent read by Scrivens, able to get back with that leg. Pastrnak with a great opportunity, kicking it, a nice backhand pass. And I'm sure when he fell down there, he thought that one would be in the back of the net.
Face-off win by the Bruins. Centering pass trying for Campbell. Hops over his stick. They work it back to the line. Seidenberg trying to keep it in. Now Benoit Pouliot springs his man. Coming in, there's Pakarinen. And his shot goes off the stick of Bartkowski and out of play.
Well, that's one for Pakarinen. Just a little bit more experience, and you maybe put your head down and get skating for a split second. In the American Hockey League, you have that extra second to get control of the puck. You see how quickly that opportunity was taken away. Bartkowski got in there. Pakarinen just getting his legs underneath him. A chance there to maybe drive it to the net. Instead, a good defensive play by the Bruin defender.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins settles in to take this draw. 3 goals in his last 3 games, and the Oilers control it. Backhand feed was in behind Nugent-Hopkins. Feed towards the net, right on the doorstep, and Rask will cover it up and hang on.
Well, there's Tuukka Rask at his best, fighting for pucks through the traffic. And the one thing the Bruins will do is typically win faceoffs. That's a big win, though, by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Good execution. Traffic in front. The rebound was there for a split second, but calmly, Rask didn't overplay it, just found the rebound and gets Bergeron out there to take the next one.
Against Boyd Gordon. Gordon comes out to take that attacking zone draw, and they control off the faceoff. 2 of the top faceoff men in the NHL. Bergeron is number 2. Gordon is sitting at 11th overall in the National Hockey League. And the Bruins get it away. Long stretch pass looking for Marchand. He couldn't corral it, and Matt Fraser steps in. The former Bruin snaps a shot on Rask. Rebound. Rask checks behind him, and he's got the puck as Jeff Petrie stepped in there and got a shot.
I mentioned earlier, a turnover by the Oilers turned into a chance for the Bruins. Here's a great play defensively. A nice turnover by the Oilers D. Quick transition game. Chara tries to stand up and take away the shot, but the rebound was high enough. Petrie joined in the rush, and for a split second, Rask saw that one go between his legs. Had an anxious moment. I thought the game in Calgary, it wasn't so much that Rask was bad. He had some unlucky goals go against him. I'm sure that's part of the process for Julian to get him back in there as well.
Todd Nelson talked about the first 5 minutes tonight, and look at this, big turnover. Roy leans into it, broke his stick, or somebody did. Here's Fane down low. Rask comes across, makes one save, and the rebound goes into the corner. 6 shots already for the Edmonton Oilers. Martin Marincin shovels it just outside the line. The Bruins wait for everybody to get on side. And here is Lucic. Swats it in on the backhand. In behind the net, out front for Krejci. And he missed it. Corey Krug fanned on that one, and Roy skates it out, stepping it over the line. Looking for late help. Here's Klefbom. Klefbom shoots. And Rask makes a save. Rebound, wrap around a tip. Rask is down. They jam away. And the puck stays loose. And the Bruins desperate to get it out, and they can't. Oilers are buzzing here. Here's Klefbom. No lane to shoot. Banks it off the end board. Ryan Hamilton battling for position. Out front. Yakupov scores. And this guy is hot. Nail Yakupov opens the scoring. And it's 1-0 Edmonton.
Well, Dave, this has been the best line for the Edmonton Oilers, and for Yakupov, his 4th goal in a 6-game streak. Lots of good chances, 3 great chances by this line on this shift. Yakupov with a stop-up, the D getting involved. But watch Tuukka Rask here, down in the position. He had a chance to get it there, wasn't able to hold on to it. The Bruins can't get it out. And there's another wide shot that Rask wasn't able to hold on to. Rask deep in his net, down on his knees, and Yakupov makes the perfect shot. Didn't rush it, put it exactly where he needed to, up and over the glove of Tuukka Rask.
Yakupov gets his 9th. That is his 4th goal in now a 6-game scoring streak. Playing his best hockey of this season by far. Very confident with his release right now, and he's really got some chemistry going with Roy.
Yeah, he wants to play with Roy. Roy's got good karma with him. They talk a lot. They communicate very well both on and off the ice. And for Todd Nilsson, no worry about his team starting slowly. This has been a great start by the Edmonton Oilers. I mentioned the fact of Tuukka Rask not stopping. He had one chance in the scramble to get a hold of the puck. And how about this? A smart play from behind. The shooting lane's taken away, a wide shot. And instead of Rask going and stopping that play, he bumped it back. Derek Roy was in the right position, down on his knees, and instead of being square to the shooter, you could see trying to get out there. And Yakupov made him pay. Great shot by Yakupov.
Good look for the LASIK MD net cam. Yakupov from Roy and Oscar Klefbom at 4:29. So that first 5 minutes, Todd Nilsson is probably pretty pleased with this. They're out shooting the Bruins 9-3 and right back to work in the offensive zone. Acarina couldn't quite get it back to the point. Now to center ice, this is Pastrnak. The 18-year-old David Pastrnak, who about a month and a half ago was playing the World Juniors.
Made a pretty good impact, though, hasn't he, on this lineup?
Here's Soderberg, picks his way in front, throws it back to the point for Chara. Chara back into the corner. Here's Carl Soderberg now. Petrie watching him, he's a big body, he's out there, and he tried to go to his backhand, and Lander broke it up. Ferris with a pass up to Lander, and back goes the center for Matt Hendricks. In there for Krug, he goes across to his partner, banked up to center ice, picked up by Daniel Paye. He can't get it past Hendricks. Hendricks chops it out, McQuaid goes up to get it, and snaps it towards the net, and it's blocked and skated out by Hendricks again. To center and in. Out of the corner, Rask out of his net to swat it down. Gordon's on the puck, and now we got a fight. It's going to be Hendricks going with Gregory Campbell. Campbell, who leads the Bruins with 4 fighting majors, and Hendricks, tied for the team lead with the Oilers, takes Campbell down in the corner. Here's a look at how it started. Hendricks and Campbell eyed each other up, and Campbell trying to stir something up, no doubt, on that Bruins bench. But right now, it is Nail Yakupov who has the only goal of the game. 1-0 Oilers on Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey.
Darren Millard with the Hockey Central update. Minnesota 3 points out of a playoff spot in Calgary. Wild up 2-0 when Dennis Wideman's point shot tipped in by Yuri Hudler. His 19th. It's a 1-goal game. You can watch this one on Sportsnet 1. Back to Dave and Craig.
Look at the two combatants, Gregory Campbell and Matt Hendricks, both in the box for fighting, Craig.
Well, Campbell trying to give his team a little injection of life, and Hendricks just happy to be back in the lineup and getting the opportunity.
Blocked his shots last week against the Montreal Canadiens. A shot taken by Sergei Gonchar, and really wanted back in that lineup, and he's happy to be back there tonight. This is his type of game.
16 seconds.
Roy battling for the puck along the end boards. Lucic is there as well. Here's Yakupov, who's got the game's only goal. Trying to keep those feet moving. Perhaps draw a penalty, but he was unable to do that. Lucic goes across the ice. That pass off the skates of Krejci, and Lucic is offside.
So much discussion with the Edmonton Oilers on the play of Nail Yakupov, and again, credit Todd Nilsson with a nice job of getting him calmed down and giving him a little bit of confidence. A different message. A lot of the message is the same in terms of how you play. I think a lot of it, though, Dave, is a big difference in the methodology and the way that the message is being conveyed to Nail Yakupov has really allowed him to relax and play a much better style of hockey.
Got a stretch of 1 goal in 24 games, and now he's got 4 in his last 6. Here's Bergeron with a shot, saved by Scrivens. Rebound goes to the far boards. Chara keeps it in there. Fane shovels it along the dashers. Purcell is there, but Eriksson gets the puck to Chara. His shot blocked right in front of him, and Jordan Eberle to Ryan and Nugent Hopkins. Eddie Purcell, a third member of the big line for the Oilers these days. Eriksson now. Trying to get away from Ference. And he does get it away to the captain. Top to center ice, not much further. Here is Anton Lander. Lander's got 3 goals in his last 4 games. Hamilton puts it up the boards, and that is turned over to Pakarinen, and he lost the handle, and Soderberg skates it out. Here's Carl Soderberg, nifty little backhand feed, back in front, and that is broken up on the rush by Edmondson. Benoit Pouliot, former Boston Bruin himself, played 1 season with the Bruins. And this one goes down the ice for icing against Edmonton. We'll catch all matches of the 2015 ICC Cricket World Cup live and in HD. Contact your local service provider or visit getcricket.ca. Lander wins the draw there against Soderberg. And Eero Pakarinen is there. Petrie to Ference. And hits a stick, and Pasternak turns back the other way, drops it off to Soderberg. Soderberg in, and a glove save made by Scrivens, who's sharp to start tonight.
Big time. 2 big saves early on here to settle his team down. You think of early in the season, there might be 2 goals against for the Edmonton Oilers. The saves just didn't seem to be there. Kelly with a play on Ference creates the turnover. Pasternak with a nice pass, and Scrivens' red pass. You could see he started to cheat over to his right, but the quick reflexes of his glove able to hold on, and 2 excellent saves early to thwart 2 great scoring chances by the Bruins.
Here's Smith, chops it in front, and a post for Krejci as he teed it up from the ladies' tees and rang it off the post. So Scrivens gets a little help there.
And David Krejci, his season continues on. You heard the guys in studio talking about the frustration for him. It's kind of been a microcosm of the way that the season's gone for the Bruins lately. Good hard forecheck by Lucic. A loose puck in that soft zone by Krejci. And Scrivens trying to telegraph out to take away the net. Got beat, but as all good goalies say, I only gave you the post. That's all you had.
Part of the equipment as far as they're concerned. Martin Marincin played 5 of the 6 games on the road trip. Did not play against Winnipeg. Back in the lineup tonight. Keith Olley's the odd man out on the back end. Here is Marincin surrounded, but he gets the puck free. And Roy comes away. Looking around, trying to go into the middle, and he gets it right back. Quick up all the way down the ice. And that is going to be icing against the Oilers as that pass just missed. And meanwhile, over the Oilers bench, that's not a good sight.
Few anxious moments there. Let's have a look at what happened. Lucic, it's just an errant stick, and at times it doesn't seem like much, but the way his knee was bent, at times it can catch you right on the top of the knee, underneath where your protection is, and there's nerves around there that can be very painful. I'm sure he'll be back.
He remains on the bench below us. And Dennis Seidenberg, fan of the first attempt, gets the second one in there. Justin Schultz moves it around the boards where it's cut off by Marchand in front, and that flutters over top of the stick of Scrivens. Marchand scored a shorthanded goal on Monday against the Calgary Flames. His first shorthanded goal of the season. He had 5 last season. Here is Schultz, who backs up. Justin Schultz, who is sitting on a -6 right now in his last 7 games, so his game kind of goes up and down a little bit. Here's Seidenberg racing back for it against Fraser. He was acquired from the Bruins in late December off of waivers. Matt Bartkowski. Out to center, the Oilers control the puck, backing up into their own zone.
It's another good move. Obviously, Luke Gazdic not in the lineup.
Look out! That one bounced off of a stick and right out in front. Scrivens was ready for it.
Todd Nilsson giving Fraser an opportunity to go against his old team. I like that again, is you know he's anxious to play.
Soderberg tries to drift one towards the net. It goes to the far corner. Petrie, a little soft to the backhand. Soderberg with a wrist shot. Save made by Scrivens. And the Oilers skated out. Flip to the wide side looking for Eberle. They can't connect it. Here comes Pasternak again. Trying to flip that one out in front. Gets it back. David Pasternak towards the net. Hits his own man. And it goes into the corner. Nugent Hopkins down low. Digs it free. The Oilers come away. Right side now. Stepping in. Nugent Hopkins reaching for that puck. Took a look back at the point, but Smith was there blocking the lane, and now he's got the puck. Riley Smith up to Dougie Hamilton. And in. 9 minutes remaining in the first period. Nail Yakupov has scored for the Oilers to make it 1-0 here. Bruins trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. All of them. They are, you know, they get a point the other night, but that's got to feel like a lot.
3-0 lead, 50 seconds into the second period. It definitely does.
Anton Lander picks that one off and tries to go wide, turns back into the line. Here's Marincin in, shoots, and that hit a body in front, goes into the corner. Marincin had a real good look there. Comes out to the slot, to the line, and just outside of it.
Yeah, what I like the Oilers here early on have really brought the defense in. It was part of the play that got them the 1 goal this game, and they've got 3 good scoring chances at the D jumping in on the play.
Erickson coming down the right side. Ferris breaks that up. Bain puts it around the boards where it's going to be met by Bartkowski. Matt Bartkowski, who just got back into the lineup on Monday after being a healthy scratch for 17 games. And they need him now. They're a little short-handed back there. Seidenberg battles to keep the puck in. Loose puck picked up in front, backhand, saved by Scrivens. The rebound is cleared as the Oilers come to the rescue just in time. Good looking chance there for Brad Marchand, who's been buzzing around. There's a deflection right in front, and again, Scrivens very sharp, reading the play, making the stop, and keeping it out. He's been busy, but Scrivens keeps it 1-0 here in Edmonton on Wednesday night.
Hockey Central in-game took a shootout, but it's a final in Chicago. Detroit's Thomas Tatar scored in regulation and undresses Corey Crawford one-on-one. How about Jimmy Howard? Struggled big time in the shootout, but he stopped Patrick Kane and Patrick Sharp. Wings win 3-2. Dave?
There, meantime, Milan Lucic and the Bruins down 1-0. Lucic has commented at different points of the season about the mindset of his team and how they have a tendency to get down on themselves when things go wrong early. That is very un-Bruin-like, but it has been happening. Pasternak working out of the corner, throws it back to the line, across to Seidenberg. His one-timer knocked down by the Oilers. Out of the corner it comes. Kelly meets it. He goes across. Bartkowski's wrist shot is handled by Ben Scrivens.
Well, for Oilers fans who have watched what's been a very difficult start for the Oilers goaltenders and seen the impact on the team, here's a great example of what big saves early on do for the confidence of your club. A couple of great early saves, one pad save, one glove save, sharp around the net. And with a young team that has a fragile confidence, when you get those saves early on, especially against a team like Boston that has experience, it allows you to play aggressively. It allows you to keep pushing the pace because you know you've got help behind you.
He was probably wondering, what's all this talk about who's going to start net for the Bruins? What about me? I'm starting tonight.
Definitely a good message sent, which has allowed the Oilers to get off to a pretty good start after the 6-game road trip.
Loose puck in behind the net, wraparound attempt, and the rebound comes right to Lucic. His pass picked up by Matt Fraser, and the Oilers reset to the back end. Here is Marincin. In on Rask. He'll leave it there for, he was almost going to leave it there for Krug, but he decided otherwise with an Oiler right around him.
I think with this Bruin team, the decision for me, Dave, when we were talking earlier is, Tuukka Rask is going to play all the games down the stretch. And I would have taken personally this opportunity to challenge a team that's been caught in that monk, like Lucic was saying. They don't seem to have that confidence. This is a game where put a challenge out to your players that bring up a big game for a young player to play his first game of the National Hockey League career. Look what Andrew Hammond did in Ottawa for the Senators, a 40-save win in his first game.
In game one of our doubleheader tonight, quite the story there. And speaking of Subans, the people in Montreal were holding their collective breath when PK left the game in that one.
He came back, which is good.
For about 30 minutes of ice time tonight.
It's just a typical night, isn't it?
Yeah. 6 minutes to go here in this first period, where it remains 1-0 on the goal by Nail Yakupov. Oilers step in over the line. There's a shot, and the rebound goes just past the near post. Schultz was jumping up in that play. That's kept into the line. Klefbom with a shot, and Rask the save. Goes high off the glass, but stays in. Here's Nugent Hopkins. Jordan Eberle joins the battle. Nugent Hopkins to Teddy Purcell. Purcell sees Petrie and gets the puck back. Across, Eberle takes a look. Wheeling and dealing, gets it to Purcell. His wrist shot misses DeMarcus. It's tipped wide. Oilers trying to stay on it. And here is Dougie Hamilton, flips it up.
Dave, another great example. When you're getting the saves by your goaltender, the defense can afford to be more aggressive. That's 5 good chances off of the D jumping in. Schultz had a wide open net if he had controlled the rebound. Petrie just missed his chance and ended up taking a piece of Marchand.
Makarinen draws a penalty there. That is going to be a trip against Daniel Paille as Scrivens hustles to the bench for the extra attacker. But the first penalty call has been made, and the first power play of the night goes to the Oilers. A tripping call against Claude Julien's team. So the Edmonton Oilers with a 1-0 lead get a chance to build on that when we come back to Rexall. Tuukka Rask has faced 13 shots so far tonight. The Oilers have been buzzing around him.
And many of them by the D. And here's Justin Schultz, who started the play, just barely misses getting a hold of that rebound there. Jumping in again was Petrie, couldn't get the puck, got the body on Marchand. And then here's the penalty. The left leg going on Pakarinen there, and Paille goes for 2. The power play on the season, only 14.8, but 5 for 15 of the Oilers been in their last 5 games.
For 2 power play goals on Monday night against the Jets. They've got 2 power play goals in a game twice in their last 4. They're starting to click, and here they come. In over the line, that pass is off a stick and back out. Patrice Bergeron with a quick stick there. Remember, the Bruins scored a shorthanded goal Monday in Calgary. In fact, they got a couple of shorthanded goals over the last few games.
6 all in all, and this is the pair, Bergeron and Marchand, that'll go and be aggressive.
Schultz goes off the boards for Nugent Hopkins down low. Purcell's waiting out in front of the net. Back to Schultz, his one-timer whistles over the crossbar. Eberle waits for it, takes it free for Purcell. Backhand feed, across, scores! Power play goal for the Oilers, and it's 2-0. And this guy's hot as well.
The one thing that can beat aggressive penalty killing is quick support and puck movement. And the Oilers do an excellent job. Lander controls it down low. They stay away from the stick of Zdeno Chara. Jump on a loose puck, get support. 2 Bruins get beat. 1 pass beats another 2, and perfectly placed shot in front. You saw Rask. He hesitated for a split second. Thought maybe Chara was going to get this. Anton Lander gets his stick in good position over the stick of Chara, and a little hesitation by Rask. Watch the stumble. He's down on his knees again, And boy, for Claude Julien, you couldn't have a worse decision to start this game. You make the call to go with your veteran, and right now this team in front of him hasn't been good enough. Both goals, quick plays at the front of the net that beat Tuukka Rask.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who now has 4 goals in his last 4 games, and another power play marker for the Oilers.
Just look at the support by the Edmonton Oilers there. Nobody gets isolated. Nobody gets left alone. Quick puck movement, down low, up high. Puck goes to the corner. Eberle jumps on a loose puck, feels the pressure. A quick outlet pass, and then Tuukka Rask once again down on his knees. And to me, Dave, that's what you just don't see very often. A nice read by Nugent-Hopkins. Watch how quick and ready he is for this pass. There's no hesitation. A quick release. It's not so much about the strength of that shot. It's more about the quickness of your release and the positioning of the shot that can beat the goaltender from in tight.
You know, say what you will about how the Boston Bruins are playing coming into this game, but full credit to these guys, the Edmonton Oilers, who probably talked about, you know what? These guys are down and out. They're not playing the big bad Bruins hockey that everybody is used to seeing. This guy is struggling along with everybody else. Let's jump on them, and they have.
And I think that is the discussion, and for the Bruins, it's continuing to wonder what's wrong. I mean, they've had that aura around them that they can recover from anything, and right now it's just not happening. I credit Todd Nilsson, though. Again, the message is very similar, but it's the way the message has been conveyed. Lots of talk coming in off the road trip about being ready to play on home ice. And clearly with the shots 14-9 here, 16 minutes in, the Oilers have been ready to play.
There's an issue behind Tuukka Rask with the glass. That is the reason why they have not dropped the puck yet, as you can see they're dealing with that.
And Dave, here's another reason why maybe you would have looked to Malcolm Subban and give him a chance and try to give him an opportunity. Tuukka Rask, there's enough to be said about what a great goaltender he's been. Look at the month of January, minuscule goals against, tough to beat, but February just has not been the same. And already 2 goals against, as I mentioned, he's given up 4 goals in his last 2 starts consecutively for the first time this year. And I personally thought this was a night where you give the young goaltender a chance and you challenge your team in front of him to give him a game, but it's not been the case.
Well, this week, on a special edition of Hockey Night in Canada, 5 choices of nationally televised games. Start your Saturday with Hockey Central Saturday at 6:30 Eastern. Then it's the Jets and the Leafs on CBC, Panthers Sens on Sportsnet, Jackets and Canadiens on City, and the Ducks and the Oilers on Sportsnet 1, all followed by the 2015 Coors Light NHL Stadium Series game, the Kings and the Sharks. That one is at 10 o'clock on CBC Eastern Time. Visit sportsnet.ca/schedule for details.
Well, trying to buck a trend are the Edmonton Oilers here. They've got the lowest winning percentage when they score the first goal of the hockey game. Here's the game's first goal, a chance for Rask to end the play. They've been running around their own end. Derek Roy finding Nail Yakupov again. Rask down, Yakupov with a great, perfectly placed shot. Nice effort again, jumping on a loose puck, good quick puck movement. And just like that, it's a 2-0 lead. And something the Oilers haven't been all that confident to walk home to victory. But this game tonight, they've got good goaltending by Ben Scrivens, which has calmed them down. They've played with good energy, and when they've had the chance around the net, they've made good shots on Tuukka Rask.
This is a team that's been on the road an awful lot. 11 of their last 14 have been away from Rexall. This is their first home game in 2 weeks since they faced the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it's a good start. 4 minutes remaining here in the first period. We're finally ready to get going again as they fix the glass in behind Rask. And it's 2-0 in goals by Yakupov and Nugent-Hopkins. 16th goal of the season for Nugent-Hopkins, with 19 goals all of last season. Now when it's flipped up and down the ice, Rask has to play it, and he'll leave it for Seidenberg. Purcell and Eberle draw the assists at 15:53 on that power play goal.
15 minutes, 53 seconds.
Here's Seidenberg, gets to center and flicks that one in. Schultz waits for to the far boards. Calmly makes the play to Roy, and they're away again. Here's Yakupov, right side, into the middle, trying to get it to Hamilton, and it's turned over. Marincin reads the play nicely, and he'll step in and flick it in there. Torrey Krug waits for things to set up around him. Now he'll start out. Dangerous offensive defenseman, 11 goals for Krug, and that one's up and out of play.
Well, no sooner did we talk about the excellent play of Ben Scrivens. We had that long delay, and he almost gave the Bruins an opportunity to get back in this game. A tough play to make, was thinking about going backhand, changed it at the last second to put it in the corner, and a few anxious moments in front of the Oiler net there as Scrivens misplayed it.
At this point with a 2-0 lead, you want to keep it simple, right?
Well, right now, Todd Nilsson just saying, guys, don't give them any kind of life. You know the Bruins are going to be better in the second. You know that Claude Julien's got a lot to say after the collapse in Calgary on Monday, so you don't want to give him any life here at the end.
Another turnover in front, and Nugent Hopkins' shot goes off of the inboards. They put it back to the line. Marincin's drive, knocked down by Krejci. Purcell mishandles the puck, and it rolls back out to center. Up in the air, Krejci's there, so is Nugent Hopkins, who, that power play goal, by the way, his first power play goal of the season. And up and in, chipped in there by Boyd Gordon. McQuaid goes after it, Rask well out of his net, moves the puck around the boards for Smith. There's Bergeron, got into a crowd and lost control of the puck. Backing up is Petrie. Up in the middle of the ice for Gordon, and he'll leave it for Fraser. Fraser to Gordon. Gordon steps in. His snapshot over top of the Bruins goal. Back into the corner. Penalty call coming up here. And the call is made. Another tripping call, and this one against Edmonton.
Yeah, Andrew Ference here just a little too aggressive. And I mentioned Todd Nilsson wanting his team to get through the end of this period. They've had a solid period on home ice, and this is one. Puck's not there at the right time. Ference gets that stick to the outside. Had he kept his stick along the wall, been able to make a play for the puck, might have got away with it. Instead, he took his body to the left and put his stick to the right, and there's the call made.
So the Bruins power play goes to work for the first time tonight, and this power play is struggling. 24th overall, 29th on the road. The Boston Bruins. They were 0 for 2 against Calgary. They had a double minor at a key point in the game. They didn't even get a shot on net. That one bounces over the stick of Krug. Krug comes across to Krejci. Krejci into the high slot. Bergeron snaps a shot that goes just wide.
I don't think Scrivens even saw that. He didn't react to it till he heard it on the glass.
Across to Krejci. Krejci in there and looking for the tip in front from Eriksson. Here's Dougie Hamilton, back and forth with Krug. Winds, fires, save made by Scrivens. Rebound, he got that too, and he's covered up with Bergeron right on the doorstop.
Well, Patrice Bergeron, one of the hotter Boston Bruins. He's got 2 in his last 3, but he's got great looks here. A nice little seam pass into the middle, and there's the one that Scrivens didn't even hear till it was back. Another good job in front. Bergeron, the right-hand shot, gets a quick short pass and just tries to shovel that one 5-hole, but Scrivens able to hold on.
Good face-off win by the Oilers. Marincin sends it down the ice. And they pin it along the end boards. Working up there is Purcell and Nugent Hopkins, who kills penalties, and it's the big reason why he leads all forwards of the NHL in minutes played per night.
It's hard to believe that was his first power play goal, isn't it, when you're playing that much?
And on Scrivens, he will hang on with 1 minute gone in this Bruins power play.
And Dave, there's a lot of things that have improved in Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' game, but I think the one thing that if he can continue to work on, that's in the face-off dot. Just hasn't quite been able to master that yet, only just over 46%. If he gets that up to a 50-plus number, you can guarantee the ice time will continue to go up.
Face-off win as Julien stays with the same 5-man unit here. Krejci up top, Hamilton's drive, and another glove stop made by Scrivens.
Oh, confident Ben Scrivens in this first period. That now is 13th save And this is a play in front of the net where Eriksson's got to battle for better position. He's trying to be the screen there, but you can see he's over to the left. Scrivens peeks over his shoulders, got a clear view of that puck, and calmly holds on.
4 shots so far in this Boston power play. There's 5. A couple of them by Hamilton, who's got 4 power play goals. Tied for the team lead. And he's got it again. Leaves it for Bergeron. Here is Torrey Krug. Krug goes across, up high to Krejci to bring it down in the backhand feed to Hamilton. Krug winds and shoots, and that is blocked right in front. Tipped and scores. Eriksson with a beautiful tip. Scrivens didn't have a chance, and it's 2-1 power play goal.
Well, for Todd Nilsson, it's just avoiding what looked to be a perfect period. An aggressive play and a bad penalty by Ference in the offensive zone. But credit the Boston Bruins. No panic. They controlled the puck. A little backhand, no-look pass, and a bit of a bad break. A nice block by Oscar Klefbom. But the block went right on his stick, disintegrated it. And you saw earlier Eriksson wasn't in good position, so that Scrivens was able to see the puck. You could see the head of Eriksson in a perfect blocking play on Scrivens. Scrivens never saw the puck, and Eriksson with an easy tap-in.
So Eriksson with a late goal here in the first period cuts the lead to 1, a power play marker, his 13th of the season.
Now the game begins. Now you get a team like Boston after a bad first period, you give them life going to the room.
I'm sure Claude Julien will have a few words for his charges. Scrivens and the Oilers need to stay the course as they played pretty well a solid opening 20 minutes. Back to Hockey Central. Here's your host, Darren Millard.
Dave, thank you very much. Late goal aside, this is how Edmonton thought it was going to go for them at the start of the season. Yakupov scores a goal. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins scores a goal. Ben Scrivens is really good, and you have the lead after 1 here at Hockey Central with Doug McLean, Nick Kypreos, and Darren Pang. On the flip side, Boston has points in 10 of 12, and now they've slipped right back into the freezer.
Well, what's frustrating is you see some of their top players not getting the job done. You saw Krejci hit the goal post, but have a look at this defensive play by 2 stars in the NHL, and that's Patrice Bergeron and Chara. Have a look at Nugent-Hopkins here and the coverage by Chara and Bergeron. I mean, totally leaving them alone in the slot area. Those are 2 of the best, supposed best defensemen, defensive players in the National Hockey League. Bergeron, a history of great defensive play, and of course, Chara, an all-star. And obviously, the bench.
You know, there was a broken glass, there was a delay, and then the shot of this bench. I mean, this is a bench that's absolutely floored. They don't look like they've got a whole lot of confidence. I thought it'd be an opportunity maybe for that Boston bench to kind of huddle up, take it as a timeout. Now they've come back and scored a power play goal to get back into the game, but kind
no
of
energy.
A 10% power play on the road.
Yeah.
No energy whatsoever. And you look at this roster now and you say, okay, in the short term, Peter Chiarelli's going to do everything he can to try to get them in, but when it's all said and done, is it still going to be enough to compete in an Eastern Conference now with the likes of the Rangers, Washington, and Pittsburgh? And you wonder if they're going to have to make some hard decisions moving forward here, especially with where their salary cap is.
I'll play into your hands from the pregame show.
Yeah.
Would you make a goaltending change after the first period when you see that type of performance?
I think Louis Eriksson bought Julien some time here to not make that tough decision.
And Panger and I.
No.
I'm staying right with Tuukka Rask.
I really thought that they could have used Subban's energy coming into this game because they're sorely lacking it. And I'm sorry, but I watch Tuukka Rask right now, and I see a guy that's tired and needs a break.
Getting beat high over the glove side twice.
On
that side.
No good.
But the coverage is awful.
Yeah.
In front of him. The reads are not very good in front of him, and that's been consistent all season long.
I'm not convinced you can blame Tuukka Rask for the 2 goals in that period. So you stay with him and hope.
No, but it's about changing energy, right?
Well,
changing energy.
Maybe they need a trade.
Are you buying?
To
Are you coming on board, or are we still
I'm not buying.
in the sandbox?
No,
I'm not sure I'm
Stay
throwing
with
a
Tuukka
raw
Rask.
NHL rookie into that fire.
Oh, yeah, the Edmonton Oilers fire.
Andrew Ference and his friend Maggie. A story that you do not want to miss is coming up here on Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey.
Welcome back to Edmonton and Rexall Place. The Oilers are up 2-0, but the Bruins have cut that lead in half with Louis Eriksson's late goal in that first intermission. Time now for the Boston Pizza bio on Derek Roy, who's a huge fan of Nail Yakupov. And interestingly, Nail Yakupov has 11 even strength points this year playing with Derek Roy. And the two talked earlier this season about how they wanted to play together. And Roy just told Yakupov, hey, do whatever you want. I will adjust accordingly. He reminds Roy, Yakupov does, of Max Afinogenov, who he played with in Buffalo and actually had some success with. Derek says, listen, I feel like I'm playing my best hockey. There's been no contract talks, obviously, with the Edmonton Oilers, as they no doubt wait to see what happens at the draft table. Dave Randorf and Craig Simpson with the second period call.
Thanks a lot, Cassie, and we're almost set to go here in that second. Derek Roy with an assist on the goal in the first period, so he now has a 3-game point streak on the go. And Craig, I guess what we're going to be looking for right off the bat is how the Oilers react to allowing the power play goal to the Bruins with 20 seconds remaining in what was a very good period for them.
Yeah, it can't be something that ruins your confidence. I would expect the Bruins to come out hard, throw everything to the net after a good talking to by their coach.
Shots for 15 apiece for the Bruins and the Oilers in that opening 20. Oscar Klefbom picks up the puck behind his own net, goes up the board. Seidenberg is there, and he puts it back into the corner. Klefbom has the puck taken away, and the Oilers regroup with possession and back up the center. Eero Pakarinen on his backhand puts it in on Rask, and he'll take no chances and covers up.
Well, you see early on here a real effort by the Bruins to just throw pucks to the net. They were able to even the shots on goal late in that first. Good hard forecheck creates a bit of a turnover. And this not a hard shot, but that deflection there by Bergevin out high, right about the dot there. A tough one for Ben Scrivens. He was able to make the save but not hold on to the rebound.
Patrice Bergeron, who is sitting on 199 career goals. Edmonton controls off the draw. Hendricks throws it across the goal mouth. Marincin with a slap shot blocked right in front, and it caroms out to center ice. Backing up is Fane. Chipped in there by Edmonton, and in after it is Gordon. Gordon first to the pocket. He's pounded there by big Adam McQuaid. Off the boards where Fraser is in traffic. Following up is Eriksson, the lone goal scorer tonight for the Bruins. Just outside the line, Hendricks has it now. Trying to get away from Lucic, and they send it in. Last comes out to slow it up for McQuaid. McQuaid to Torrey Krug, up to Milan Lucic. Lucic steps around his man, and he's in. Shoots, and he whistles it up and over the shoulder of Scrivens. Big Milan Lucic, what a move and a power rush towards the Oilers' net.
Yeah, once he gets running downhill, it's hard to stop, isn't it? A good, quick couple of steps there by Lucic around Schultz.
Puck was almost there for Riley Smith, who's on it now in the corner. Nugent Hopkins is on him. Klefbom down low to support. Nugent Hopkins nipply out to Eberle, and up right side to Schultz. Schultz in on net, and once again Rask will cover up.
I think Schultz got a little surprised at the speed and the jump of Lucic. It was at the end of a shift for Lucic, and one of his problems at times is from a standstill, but you can see he lost body position. Schultz went to the outside, Lucic a couple of quick strides, and that look skyward is something you've seen far too often from Milan Lucic there. Shot that puck, but up and over the net.
Just 11 goals for Lucic. A lot of guys with low goal totals. One thing they're really missing is the 30 goals they got from Jerome McGinley last season.
It is a big void, isn't it? I think the fact that Louis Eriksson hasn't really been able to establish himself this year, and Riley Smith, after a really good year last year, same thing. I think they were hoping for him to get to that 30 range as well.
Well, Julian saying today he's really fighting the puck right now. Here's Roy, carries it in, rubbed out along the sideboards, and Bartkowski takes over from behind his own net. Steps out in front, and his pass to Soderberg was behind his man, but Pasternak chips it in there, and now Yakupov has it. Yakupov had just one shift after we noticed he was injured in the first period, but he's right back out there. 8 points to net. Glove stop made by Rask, and he'll hold on for the draw.
Facing a compromising situation? We can help. Apply today at wiserfund.ca. No purchase necessary. Must be legal drinking age.
Dave, you mentioned Yakupov, and he is definitely favoring that knee. I know when you saw the replay, it didn't look like much, but it's amazing at times where the stick, if it hits you right on that nerve, it can send a shockwave right down your leg, and clearly it seems to be bothering him a little bit.
Purcell's up there along with Everly in the corner against Chara. Nugent Hopkins pins the puck along the side boards. 37-year-old Zdeno Chara bouncing puck in front, and it comes back for Klefbom. There's Nugent Hopkins forced outside by Paille. Chipped off the boards there to Campbell, and here's Purcell. Give it a hard check there by Campbell. Knocks it down again. The Oilers are trying to keep it in there, but finally comes back out to center ice. Here is Klefbom. Skates it up to center and fires that one in. Goes around the net where it's going to be in by Dougie Hamilton. Hamilton to Chara. And Bergeron's away down the right side. Centering pass goes off a stick and play is whistled down due to a hands pass.
I think when you look at this Boston team, much has been made. The panel was talking about Peter Chiarelli. What are the decisions to be made? You still got such a good group of core guys, Bergeron being one of the key leaders up front. I do have a question on the back end, though. Do you stick with, obviously Chara's not going anywhere too easily unless he wants to, but Seidenberg's name keeps coming up, and I really think if the Bruins keep faltering like this, they need a shakeup. And it's something that they've been hamstrung with the salary cap, and it'll be a tough call for Peter Chiarelli to try to make this team better.
It's been a long fall from the President's Trophy a year ago to hanging on to a playoff spot right now. They've made the postseason 7 straight years. And of course, 2 trips to the Stanley Cup Final. The Oilers back in business in the offensive zone. Fraser battling for that puck. Gordon angles off his man, but the Bruins get it away. Chipping it down the ice. Lucic applying some pressure. They send it back up to center, and Seidenberg spins around. To Krug. Slapped in by Louis Eriksson, and Scrivens out of his net stops it up. Not too long ago, the Boston Bruins had a 7-point cushion in their wild card spot. Now it's down to 2, with the Florida Panthers coming hard behind them.
That's why this game was really that tough decision, right, of who does play net. Do you go with the young Subban, give him his first opportunity and hope your team responds, or do you hope that you go with the real thing and they for sure win with Rask? But it hasn't worked out that way yet.
Ryan Hamilton battling for the puck, and it goes to the far corner. Stepping in there is Ference. Big collision. Ference stayed on his feet. McQuaid picks himself up.
Quaid back in the lineup. Obviously Miller out with that bad shoulder, and hate to say it, but you think of Johnny Boychuk is such a big void, isn't he, having getting traded?
Ference wrist shot, and Rask makes the stop again. There is no rebound. He hangs on.
And it's a cruel NHL, guys. You win the Stanley Cup in 2011, and when you do that, you have to pay contracts, and guys get paid. Tuukka Rask comes in and takes care of Tim Thomas's spot, so he needs the money, and Peter Chiarelli on the left, Cam Neely on the right, and I think the next few weeks are going to be a sort of critical juncture for this team that has been good for the last 4 or 5 years, but looking to stay up there is going to be a real challenge for them. It'll be interesting to see who stays or who goes.
Won in the first round last year against Detroit, and then lost in the second round in 7 games to the Montreal Canadiens after having a 3-2 series lead.
And to me, it was speed. I mean, that's one thing I think Boston's really dropped off of. They don't have necessarily that pace and speed to their game. To me, that's where Montreal was able to take them last year.
They outscored them 7-1 in games 6 and 7. Here they're down 2-1 in the second period against the Edmonton Oilers. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has the go-ahead goal right now, his first power play marker of the season. Seidenberg picks the puck up in behind his own net, gives it to Soderberg, who picks up some speed to center ice and then fires it in there. Over the stick of Scrivens, worked up the boards where it's cut off by Lucic. He can't get it towards the net, battles hard with a stick, but the Oilers push this one softly down the ice. And Seidenberg back to get it. Seidenberg has played every game this season after missing the majority of last season. Here's Pastrnak, carries it in, drops it off for Krejci, and he mishandled that one. Up the boards, Pastrnak takes it free for Chara, across to Hamilton. Weak shot, knocked down by Edmonton, and given to Everly. He'll flip this one in, and that line will change. Lander comes out with Pakarinen and Pouliot. Lander, quick stick. Pouliot follows up, and he'll step in. Mishandle the puck. They work it up the boards and get it out. Paille. Stepping in now is David Krejci. He leads to Virginia. Paille. Clefbaum pins him, and that allows Anton Lander to go get it. His game's getting more and more confident up here in the NHL, isn't it?
Yeah, he's really starting to establish himself as an everyday player. And there's a late hit that you wonder, as we're going to go to break, will the Oilers have another power play?
Some talking, some discussion, but nothing too heavy. But
don't see any arms up, do you?
I don't see anything yet. Gregory Campbell's been in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff tonight. His team down by a goal.
Welcome back to Edmonton, where there was some big news this week. A new record was set for the world's longest hockey game from February 6th to 16th, with about 40 players, including Yoni Nieminen, Dean Morelli, to name a few. More than 4,000 goals scored in Sherwood Park, and about over $1 million were raised for the Alberta Cancer Foundation. It's a great tribute video on albertacancer.ca, and find out more ways you can contribute in the future. Dave?
That's exhausting. Just thinking about that. Exhausting. There's a shot from Ference wide of the mark.
Dr. Brent Sake with at Sakers Acres in Sherwood Park. Wonderful effort by everyone.
Ferent's wrist shot is tracked by Rask, and he hangs on. When you give up 2,000 goals, I'm sure the video
you got to feel your confidence.
Is probably going to be.
I would tell you though, the guys out there, they've got it down to a science now. They have great facilities that Brent Sake has built out on his acreage there, and the Zambonis, so many people volunteering. It's really quite an amazing undertaking. And when you think of it, for stretches, it was -17, -18 when they were playing outdoors.
Anton Lander, nice clean face-off win. Back to the line for Schultz. Puts it around the boards where it's met back of the goal. Lander giving a shove there. And the puck comes up the boards for Marchand, and that was almost broken up by Schultz. He keeps it in momentarily. And now the Bruins poke it out to center ice. Back for Clefbaum. Clefbaum's pass picked off there by Marchand. Marchand's going to step in, curl back, look for some help. He's got Krug. That shot, rebound. Great stop by Scrivens. Ben Scrivens has been sharp, and now there's a penalty call coming up against the Bruins. Delayed call in effect. Rask hangs on, and the Oilers are going to get their second power play of the night.
Oh, what a difference when you get a big save from your goaltender. It just changes the dynamics of the game. We saw it in the first, and here's a great example. It's a chance for the Bruins to be tied at 2. As Patrice Bergeron in the slot once again. 3-4 times he's been there already. Scrivens with the save, and look at the hack right on the hands. Schultz comes after, and there's no question about that. A hack by Brad Marchand on the hands of Schultz, and what a turn of events here, from the chance from being tied to trying to stop another power play by the Oilers.
Marchand in the box, and the Oilers back out there. They're 1 for 1 on the power play goal by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. They've scored a couple of power play goals in their last few games, trying to do that again here tonight as the Bruins send it down the ice. Here is Schultz. Justin Schultz will drop it off. Jordan Eberle now at center ice it in. Drops it off for Purcell. Purcell cuts into the middle, trying to go back to the line. It's knocked down momentarily there by Paille. Now Schultz has it. He'll go across to Eberle. Nugent-Hopkins with a drive, knocked down by the big wall in front. The Bruins captain. Quick pass to Purcell on the release, knocked down by Rask. Schultz goes across, picked off there by Eberle. Back to Schultz. Schultz wrist shot, and he just missed past the far post. Into the corner for Eberle. Up top now, Nugent-Hopkins is open. Purcell's wrist shot, scores! Purcell with a shot, and it's another power play goal for the Oilers. And they've got their 2-goal lead right back.
Well, that's 2 times in a row now. This unit has had great puck support. There's one thing about drawing up on the board what a power play should look like, but it's about working in unison. And here, loose puck. Look at the white sweaters attacking, but the blue ones, 2 quick passes, a great chance there by Purcell. Doesn't get it that time. Goes back to the other way, and this one, a much-needed goal for Teddy Purcell. First goal in 12 games. Tuukka Rask a little tentative, back deep in his net, maybe a little deflection, but no question, Dave, a late reaction by Rask. He didn't see that one until it hit the back of the net.
Oh, you're talking about a much-needed goal. You're right about that. Purcell with just his 7th of the season, his 3rd on the power play, and it's 3-1 Oilers near the midway point of the game.
What a confident-looking power play, though. That's twice in a row that unit has really moved the puck well, but more impressively, they just worked in unison to support each other, and that's backed off the Boston Bruins, who don't give up many. Only 2 goals in the last 10 games, and all of a sudden here, 2 goals in a period and a half.
Eberle draws the assist, so he has 2 assists tonight. And the Oilers in that dreaded first game back from a long road trip have performed quite well here against this fragile Boston Bruins team right now.
Well, Todd Nilsson didn't really know the reason for all the letdowns. He's done something right here, hasn't he?
Pastrnak goes across just out of the reach there of Krejci. In there, it's deflected on the way by, in and out of the glove of Scrivens. Puck stays alive, Ferris on it, banks it off the end boards to Petrie, who gives it back to Ferris.
I wonder if Derek Roy got sliced there. He's skating it off now, but in the corner when he got hit, it looked like he got a skate in the top of his skate.
Soderberg skates away from Roy. Scrivens does to handle it, puts it into the corner. Hamilton tripped up. McQuaid with a drive. Knocked down that hit a body in front. That is Jeff Petrie, who is down right in front of the Oilers' net. Adam McQuaid stepped into one, and Petrie caught it flush. And he is slow to get up. Not sure where it caught him. So we'll take a quick break while they tend to Jeff Petrie. It is 3-1 for the Edmonton Oilers past the midway point of the second. Purcell with the latest goal for Edmonton. Back at Rexall Place, where Jeff Petrie has made his way to the Oilers bench and appears to be all right, Greg.
Yeah, I think it was one of those plays where he just didn't have time to turn and react. The shot, a waffling puck hit him right in the shoulder, right around his neck area. Had to shake that one off. Here's the goal again. Good, quick puck support. Look at the front of the net. The battle in front. Chara actually causes the screen for Rask. Never even saw it. And that little hesitation on the penalty kill and a quick release by Teddy Purcell makes it 3-1.
How about the Oilers power play? 4 for 6 over the last 2 games. And counting here. Nugent Hopkins with some room. Schultz shoots, and that is blocked off the stick or skate of Chris Kelly and out of play.
Well, how many times have I said it already here in a period and a half? The Oiler D really active, jumping up in the play. Nugent Hopkins, what he wants to do, buy himself a little time, protects the puck to the outside, gets his feet moving, and this is a quick release that almost finds its way. A nice play by Kelly to get his skate in there and block that one.
The Oilers had 15 shots in the first period. 7 of those were from defensemen. Riley Smith trying to get it to Marchand. Cliff Bob hard off the boards. Knocked down by Riley Smith. Smith tries to go back to the line. Hamilton did not get it deep, but he gets it back towards the net and shoots that one just wide. Patrice Bergeron back to retrieve the puck, and he turns up. Gives it to Hamilton, who snaps it in there. Scrivens waits just a moment, goes up the boards. Chara puts it back into the corner. Spin back for Oscar Klefbom. And the Oilers just get it out to center. 8.5 to go. Second period. Here's Soderberg. Soderberg trying to step around Klefbom. Now it's Schultz. Schultz in traffic. It goes up in the air, and he's going to get a second chance here. And some help from Hendricks. Louis Eriksson looking for that puck. He's got the lone goal for the Bruins. Late one of the first period on the power play. He'll go back to the line. Seidenberg off his skate. Sends it back in for Soderberg. Soderberg steps out, puts it towards the net, up and over. Near boards. Left there for Bartkowski. Almost gave it away there to Eberle.
Hey, that's what's been missing in Boston's game is those extended shifts, the long cycle shifts where they keep control of the puck. They haven't been able to establish that up until this point.
Bartkowski now try to make a move around Yakubov, and they almost sprung him. And it's Klefbom again to the back end while the Bruins complete a change. Both teams do.
You know, when you're a veteran club like the Bruins that has had so many times where they come back in games and they've been able to turn that proverbial switch and get your game going, I'm sure that's part of the reason Claude Julien frustrated with them. They haven't been able to get it going on a consistent basis, and you've seen that tonight.
Back inside the line, Yakupov trying to get it down to his new line mate Roy that he loves playing with these days. That was broken up and it's bouncing around over the stick of Hamilton, who chops it back in there. Ryan Hamilton recently added back into this Oilers lineup. Scored his first NHL goal a couple of games ago. At 29 years of age. Back in there is Pastrnak forcing fade. Chara tries to hold the line and he can't. And Krejci with it. Goes across to some open ice for Dougie Hamilton. Can't get around Marincin, but he drops it off for Pastrnak. David Pastrnak off the boards where that's intercepted, and now Everly has it. Everly chips it and chases around Hamilton. Here's Jordan. Everly trying to cut in. And he ran out of room. Paille now. Long backhand feed. Up ahead for Craig Cunningham. Former Vancouver Giant tries to put it towards the net. It's held by Chara. Chara's shot is handled by Scrivens, and he hangs on for the faceoff. We'll get inside the game with hockey's best. The Hockey Central trade deadline, Monday, March 2nd, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Pacific on Sportsnet. You're in the picture there.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting day, won't it? An opportunity to see every day that you think that they can't outdo themselves. The GMs may start slow, but the action gets furious, doesn't it, every single year?
Bartkowski off the draw. Smith out of the corner, trying to find a lane. Gets it wide side for Marchand, and he can't snap a shot towards the goal. Stays on it. Here's Smith behind the net. Surrounded by a couple of Oilers. Gord sticking with him. Back up top for Marchand. His wrist shot. Deflected rebound. Scores. The Bruins pounce. And it's Riley Smith cutting the lead to 1.
Dave, no sooner did I say that the Bruins haven't been able to get that cycle game going, that puck control game. Good job along the boards. Riley Smith, instead of throwing it away blindly, goes back the other way, creates some time and space, and you can see beats his man to the front of the net. It's a play that you have to make defensively as the centerman, Boyd Gordon, loses inside position. All Brad Marchand's trying to do is get the puck on net to create a rebound. Riley Smith with a nose to the net gets there first. Gordon is reaching, and Scrivens can't get there for the rebound.
23-year-old Riley Smith, who had 1 goal in his last 19 games, makes it a 1-goal game again, 3-2. With 5.5 to go here in the second period. Sent right back into the Oilers zone. Into the corner, Soderberg is there. Pouliot is as well. And the Bruins have it centered out in front. And it bounces away from Krug, who has to retreat. Marchand and Seidenberg get the assists on that Boston goal. Here's Soderberg now. He's in. Kick saved by Scrivens. Rebounding behind the net, and it comes out in front, and it's flipped out to center. Bruins trying to keep the momentum here. Long pass. Up onto the tape of Krejci. Lucic towards the net. Steered aside by Scrivens. Krejci chops at it. Puck bounces around, and Roy gets it back to Schultz. Center it in from Schultz. Hamilton's back there. Off the boards and out. Edmonton looking for a response shift here. Yakupov chops it in there, not too far around Chara. And it's out to center for big Milan Lucic, who's got some speed. Dishes off, goes to the net. The wrist shot misses off the stick of Krejci.
There's a play there where Schultz in the neutral zone. That's one place you don't want to pinch unless you're sure.
Hamilton comes across. Chara scores! Zdeno Chara through a maze in front of Ben Scrivens, and the Bruins have tied the game.
Well, right on cue, said the old proverbial switch was hard to pull. What the Bruins have done is they gained some confidence off of the goal by Riley Smith, their captain, giving taps. This is a determined shift by this line, and Milan Lucic just hovering around. Krejci gets in, and this is a lazy play down low by a dead tired Schultz in front. Look at the traffic in front of Ben Scrivens. Didn't see it, didn't get out to the top, and just a heads-up shot through a screen that Ben Scrivens never saw.
2 goals in a minute 35 seconds for the Boston Bruins, and we're all tied up. Scrivens has to make another stop now. 23 shots now for the Bruins on the night. 20 for the Oilers. 4 minutes to go, second period. Smith knocks that one down, and they're going to head back in. Here's Smith trying to skate away from Purcell. Can't throw it out in front. He's going to go for a lateral round. Drops it off into the corner. Marchand's got it down. Brad Marchand works it back to the line for Bartkowski. Off of the inboard. Smith is back down there again, fighting for it. Here's Patrice Bergeron. Bruins working it again. Here is Smith down low. Got Marchand hovering around with him. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins finally gets it out to relieve some pressure. They're giving that goal to Pastrnak. Chara with the assist on the shot, and Hamilton gets the second helper at 15:52, and it's 3-3. Crowd getting into it here at Rexall Place on a Wednesday night. One of the original 6 teams are in town, so there's a buzz in the building, and we got a good one. Marincin back to get it. Takes a look around. He's going to bank this one up ahead. Lander chops it in. Here's Tuukka Rask leaving it for McQuaid.
Boy, it's amazing how the heartbeat of the game changes, doesn't it? Very quickly. All of a sudden, the Oilers got to get their legs back, start making plays under pressure, put the puck at the other end.
Paille quickly towards the net, and Scrivens makes the save. So it drifts down there. Rask watching it all the way, and that is icing against Edmonton.
Well, this is a critical time here for the Oilers. A dead tired shift, another icing, and right now the Bruins are really focusing, Dave, on just putting everything to the net. When the puck's there, look at from a bad angle, the rebound was there. That's one where Scrivens had to get back quickly. The pressure is on.
Lander wins the draw against Chris Kelly. They work it up the boards. Chara pins his man, but Fraser is able to get it out of there. Quickly back up to Kelly and right back in. Scrivens saw a man coming, just got it away to the corner. The Oilers under attack here the last 4 or 5 minutes. Here is Marincin, leaves it for Schultz. Matt Hendricks trying to get away from Soderberg, forces him right back into the corner, and now he's got it. Soderberg with that long reach. He's tripped up, looks at the officials, no call there. It's flipped up and into the Bruins zone. Dougie Hamilton over his partner, Chara. And back out to center. Fane gets it a sit down. Here's Klefbom snapping it in there. Chara giving a bump. Bodies collide in the Bruins zone. Lucic is down there, and Hamilton has to go off his stick. Klefbom keeps it deep. Now it's Eberle after the loose puck, trying to center it. Get some help here from Nugent-Hopkins. Krejci is on him. Now bodies are flying down there as Chara upended Eberle. Hamilton can't get it out. The Oilers come right back in as Purcell steps in, shoots. Stopped by Rask. Big rebound taken away by Krejci. And Eriksson has it down the right side with help. Eriksson into the middle. Krejci out in front. And it was in front too far for Lucic. Back the other way comes Purcell. He'll step in there. Teddy Purcell on his backhand. Gets it back. Oh, they just missed on the tap in front from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Put it over top of the bar. Back come the Bruins. It's Bergeron. Bartkowski with a drive. And Scrivens makes the stop. Things have opened up here. In the late stages of this tie game, second period. Quickly back up to Bergeron. Bergeron from Marchand. He's on the puck behind the goal. Into the corner. Trying to get away. Now Roy's got it. Derek Roy sends in trouble. Just flips it to center ice. 20 seconds to go in the period. Klefbom pokes it back down. One last rush opportunity here for the Bruins. Smith at center. Smith leaves it for Torrey Krug. Krug winds and shoots. And Scrivens makes the stop on the sharp angle drive with 3.2 on the clock.
Oh, the Boston Bruins really putting a push on, trying to take the lead, but it was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with maybe the best chance. Watch where the puck gets. It gets into his skates, though, handcuffs him a little bit. Bartkowski gets his stick in there, and that was the one good chance with an open net. And once again, Krug just trying to put one through Ben Scrivens from a bad angle. Wanted to make sure he didn't get caught and allow the Oilers to go back the other way.
One last face-off here. Marincin takes it into the corner, holds it along the boards, and that will do it. So a 2-goal lead for the Edmonton Oilers disappears in 1 minute 35 seconds on goals by Riley Smith and David Pastrnak. And it's all tied up in Edmonton on Wednesday night.
To the Point, brought to you by J.P. Wisers, helping hockey fans out of compromising situations the Wisers way.
Just want to share something with the audience. We have never done 2 complete To the Points in a single night, so stamina could be a significant issue this evening. Nick Kypreos and Darren Pang. 3 questions, 30 seconds each to make your point, and the audience at sportsnet.ca/vote now determines the winner. Start with Nick. Who is the best player in the NHL right now? There's a one-point difference between Ovechkin and Crosby.
Right now. So does you're only as good as your last game qualify for right now? Because if that's the case, let's go to last night. 3-1 win in Pittsburgh against Sidney Crosby. Ovechkin scores his 37th goal, leads the league in power play goals at 17, assisted on the game-winning goal. 8 goals in the last 9 games. Everybody talks about what a great job Coach Trotz has done with Ovechkin. Yeah. He's proven it right now. Right now.
Well, you're right, Kipper, but Coach Trotz isn't in the ranking. We weren't doing best coaches.
Darren Pang swept Nick Kypreos earlier, trying to make it 4 in a row on the night. Darren?
I'm trying
Stay with the program,
to battle with you.
Stay with the program.
Okay. A center iceman
has
got to be the playmaker. The center iceman gets all the responsibility. 200-foot game. Who's better than Sidney Crosby at putting the fear into the opposition, backing them off? He's got 58 points and is a +7. It's Sidney Crosby. He's the best player.
An incredibly bizarre strategy employed by Darren Pang, but it actually may have worked.
The giggles.
Question number 2. Which UFA defenseman would you try to trade for? Darren?
No question, it's Andre Sekera of the Carolina Hurricanes. 28 years of age, can play the right side or the left side, and we know the demand is right side guys right now.
You had that backwards, by the way.
He can play both sides, and I like the fact that he's versatile. He's a good gap closure guy. He's shown to be a resilient player, and I think he's got plenty of game left in him.
Left side, right side.
You gotta get your shoes with the L and the R.
Kipper?
Mike Green. And everybody talks about Barry Trotz and what a great job he's done with Ovechkin.
You are.
But no one's talking about Mike Green and his turnaround season. And here's a guy now kind of forgotten with the free agent signings of Niskanen and Orpik, yet he's got 35 points. But he's starting to play well in his own zone. Good first pass, and he's still making those great one-timers to Ovechkin at the top of the circles. I don't know if Washington's going to move him, but as a general manager, I'd certainly try to get him at the deadline.
Looks like Nick Kypreos may have evened things up. Final results coming up at the end of To the Point. This one may decide it. Best body checker of all time.
I'm first.
You go first.
I look at Scott Stevens. He's a guy that I played with in Washington. I think he has been the most feared guy, at least in my era, up against. And I don't know whether or not he could play in today's era with the shots to the head, but he got away with a lot back then. And you just know his history and what he brought on every given night. How did he not scare the heebie-jeebies of everybody up the middle of the ice? No one loved to hit harder than this guy. He hit to hurt.
I just realized you took Ovechkin, Green, and another former Capital, Scott Stevens.
Yeah, he went all
Washington there. All right. Well,
he went all Washington,
right?
Well, I'm going to go to a tougher choice because a defenseman's an easy choice, in my opinion. You're supposed to hit hard. But a center iceman in the NHL that's a one-man wrecking crew at 6'4", 240 pounds, no one hit harder than the Big E. Eric Lindros put the fear into every player. We're talking about Eric in his prime. Oh, that's a punch.
That looks like a punch,
that's actually
yeah.
a punch to the head right there. But whatever. There was a lot of big hits, and I got Eric Lindros. And if you see the highlight clips of Eric Lindros, they are heavier hits.
Best
more
hitter of
consistent
all
hits.
time. I just want best hitter of all time, and one of your two examples
Is a punch.
I didn't pull that out there. I didn't
He's going to go to the library.
I didn't do that. I'm out.
Big board for To The Point, round number 2. And it's Nick Kypreos who rallies for a 2-1 victory after being swept earlier. That's how you answer back. I think Darren Pang really had a case of the overconfidence. Congratulations, Kipper.
Thank you.
You really earned that one. 3-3 on Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey on Sportsnet.
Welcome back to Rexall Place in Edmonton, where we have got a good one on the Oilers' first game back after a 6-game road trip. It's all tied at 3 between the Boston Bruins and the Edmonton Oilers on Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey. Dave Randorf back in the booth alongside Craig Simpson. So the Oilers responded quite well in the first. What are your thoughts through 40 minutes?
Well, I think you saw the Boston Bruins try to get their game and maybe even the critical part of their season back with a couple of opportunistic goals. It's been a good game by the Oilers, but one that I think they're feeling right now they better not let slip away.
Second meeting of the season between these two. They met in November, and the Bruins can score in a hurry, as we've seen.
Yeah, you think back to November, it was 3 goals in 2 minutes and 4 seconds that turned the game around, and the Bruins have that ability. It's something that they haven't been able to do in the last little while, but they did it and buried the Oilers on a 5-2 win back then. Tonight, with the Oilers looking in similar control, it was Riley Smith on the doorstep, and a minute 35 later, Zdeno Chara, they ended up giving it to Pastrnak, but I don't think there's any way, Dave, that one looked to go right in, and you saw the reaction of Pastrnak. He didn't even blink like he got it. He went right to his captain.
The Boston Bruins have lost 4 in a row. They have not lost 5 in a row since February of 2010. And the Edmonton Oilers have not beaten the Boston Bruins here in this building since October of 2000. The building back then was called Skyreach Center.
Hard to believe,
That's how long
isn't it?
ago it was.
Well, I tell you what, the irony of that, when we won our first Stanley Cup in 1988, the Oilers were 0-9 in the Boston Garden in the regular season, and Dave 5-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals. So
You got them when it counted. Here it's 3-3. The Oilers have led by a couple of goals twice. Boston Bruins have never led. Talk about that last win the Oilers had in 2000. Look at Craig MacTavish, a much younger looking Craig MacTavish. They scored 6 goals and chased Andrew Raycroft from the net. Kay Whitmore had to come in. That goal by Todd Marchand was a shorthander. Couple of goals by Bill Guerin. Tommy Salo was in net for the Oilers, and they won 6-1. And that was the last time they beat the Bruins here at Edmonton. Schultz with a snapshot, whistles wide, stick side, as the Oilers go to work here early in the third period. Off the boards, waiting for it was Klefbom. Instead, the Bruins get it away. Marchand almost danced his way in there. He's got 4 shots so far tonight for the Bruins. So does Patrice Bergeron. Shots are 26-21 overall in favor of the Boston Bruins. Now it's center. Dancing in there is Schultz. Drops it off for Marincin. Tried to anyway. Purcell's in the corner. Ferentz meets it. And the Bruins get it out. Loose puck for Soderberg, who's skating after it. Soderberg goes in front looking for Kelly, and the pass was out of his reach. Now here's Nugent Hopkins making some moves inside his own blue line. Up ahead for Purcell. He's got a goal tonight. Kelly goes wide across the ice. Soderberg steps in, drops it off for Chara. His drive, tip just wide, in behind of the net. Kelly goes back to the big guy. Chara winds, fires that, hits a body in front. And Purcell's got the rebound, and the Oilers come out. 3-on-2. Lots of help. Late man there was Bain, and he couldn't handle the pass. Bruins chop it down the ice. Icing against the Bruins.
boy, anxious moments at both ends as the Bruins sensing an opportunity. Good block by Fane, and looked like the Oilers had a 4-on-2 going the other way. He does a nice job of getting in front of the net. A first chance by Zdeno Chara, gets a second load Look at Fane, a great read, gets a block, a 4-on-2 ensues, but it almost went back the other way as a botched pass very nearly gave the Bruins a 3-on-1 going back.
Pouliot settles in to take the draw, and he controls it, winning it back to Marincin. His wrist shot. Rask made the stop with his own man McQuaid right in his lap. Marincin hammers it right back in. Charlotte gathers it up. Turns it over behind the net. They throw it out in front, and it's intercepted on a nice back check there by Chris Kelly. That was trouble for the Bruins. Here is Pouliot. Pass intercepted by Lucic, who's going to barrel his way in there. Lucic on his backhand, back out there in front, and a quick shot kicked aside by Scrivens. Pasternak trying to center it again. Puts it back to line for Seidenberg. Pasternak lets it go, so does Lucic. All the way around the boards, and Krug is hammered over there by Eero Pakarinen. Fraser flips it out to Pouliot, bounces away from him. He'll head to the bench. He's at the end of a shift. Out Krejci, trying to stick in his way in. Puts it back to line for Lucic. Gets the shot right back, steps in front. Pasternak didn't see it. It was in behind him, and the Oilers got it. Back the other way. Purcell drops it off in with a snapshot as Marincin, and it goes up and over Rask and out of play.
Well, we got some short-handed play by the Edmonton Oilers as they're missing Petrie and Anton Lander. But right off the draw here, Marincin with a nifty shot to the net. Fraser goes hard, takes his man McQuaid right in front. A quick turnover and an opportunity. Milan Lucic has been all over the puck the last 5 or 6 minutes of this game. There's another shot that just goes off the side. So the Oilers short-handed with no Petrie and no Lander.
In a 3-3 tie. Here's Marchand. Digs it free, goes ahead to Cunningham. Cunningham shovels it into the backhand, heads in after it. Gets some help from Bergeron. Bergeron first to the puck, Cunningham down low. Here's Patrice Bergeron working against Fane. Steps out along the boards, back to the line where his shot misses on the post side and goes off of the inboards and down the ice to center. Bergeron again goes across to Daniel Paille. Sharp angle drive. Scrivens thought he had it, but it rolls in behind the net. And the Oilers send it around the boards, and that gets past Hamilton. Tuukka Rask will leave it there for Dougie Hamilton. Up ahead to Riley Smith. Oscar Klefbom there, skates his way into trouble, or tries to, before he's angled off by Smith. And it comes out in front. Great save by Scrivens on that one-timer by Marchand. What a stop. Here's Smith back towards the net. Marchand has been all over the place tonight. Klefbom off the boards and sent back in. Here's Smith now. Back up top. Soderberg pressured. McQuaid keeps it in there. Lots of pressure here from the Bruins. Some tired Oilers on the ice right now. Nugent Hopkins. And finally they get it out. Eberle at center ice. He'll flip it in and they will get a change.
The Bruins have had 5 or 6 great chances from that very slot area. Patrice Bergeron 2 or 3 times, and as I said, Marchand. None better than that last one.
Turnover for the Oilers. That wrist shot just goes past the glove of Rask. Matt Fraser with the release, the former Boston Bruin. And it goes down the ice. Fraser resets to the back end. Here's Benoit Pouliot turning it up ice. Near side for Marincin. Seidenberg gets to the puck, takes the hit. They keep it going. Kelly chops at it, but they can't get it out. Following up, and now it's to center, and the Oilers will take over. Jordan Eberle. Up to center ice. Boyd Gordon gave it to Eberle. He was knocked off the puck. And Krejci in transition got it to Pasternak. He was tripped up, and there's no call there. But what Bruins fans in attendance tonight.
There's a few, isn't it?
Gordon trying to get it away from Lucic. Pasternak, he's impressive, isn't he? 18 years of age. He's been a factor tonight.
He's got lots of composure for a young player, that's for sure.
He's been the youngest player in both pro leagues this year, in the AHL and now the NHL. Here's Seidenberg, sends it in, steered aside by Scrivens. Goes into the corner, Klefbom has his man, comes out in front, but Andrew Ferentz was right there. Now Scrivens will stop it up behind his own net. Sweeps it into the corner for Klefbom. Great pressure here again by the Bruins. Ferentz off the boards and out. 13 and a half to go now. Up the center, Klefbom meets his man, but the puck goes down the ice. Back into the corner, back in there goes Ferentz. Loose puck, and it's gathered up by Derek Roy. Roy racing down that left side. Puck got away from him there, and McQuaid rubs him out of the corner. Hamilton follows up, so does Yakupov. He started this party with an early goal for the Oilers. He lays the body hard there, over on the far side. That is Daniel Pye who's shaking that hit off from Dale Yakupov.
He turned and took a quick look. I don't think he was expecting a big hit from number 10.
Bouncing puck in on Rat. Smith trying to work it up the boards and can't. Kept in there. Nugent Hopkins gave it up, and now it comes outside. He'll send it right back in. Rat. Good Chara. Up the boards for Marchand. Into the middle now for Patrice Bergeron. Bergeron goes wide to Smith. Cuts in, makes one move, then another, and it was stripped of the puck. Now the Oilers floated down the ice, and they'll change again on the fly. Quick moving third period.
That was a good read by Pakarinen there not to get focused on the puck. He made sure he got himself a little bit of a body in the way of Riley Smith.
Ericsson's wrist shot handled by Scrivens, and he will hang on, and we finally have a whistle. Daniel Pye getting nailed by Yakupov.
An update on two injured players for the Edmonton Oilers. First, Anton Lander's shoulder. He was hit there by Torrey Krug, and then it was Jeff Petrie. It's ribs, and both will not return to tonight's action. Craig?
So a bit of a bad luck break for the Edmonton Oilers. Here's a bad luck for the Bruins, though. A turnover right in front, and Brad Marchand won't get a better chance than that. Scrivens solid. Another dangerous shot through a crowd that you can see the late reaction by Tuukka Rask. Just missed.
Bruins back to work in the offensive zone. Eriksson behind the net, surrounded by a couple of Oilers. Gets some help from Soderberg, and he's got the puck again. Here's Eriksson. Fan on that pass attempt, and it's picked up by Fraser. Flips it to center. The Oilers desperately trying to get it back down the ice, and Fane battling for it. Chopped back in by the Bruins. And here's Eriksson carrying it in. Puts it into the middle, and that is intercepted and flipped outside the line and down the ice. Shots on net after the first period were 15 apiece. Since then, 15-7 for the Bruins and 4-1 in this third period. There's a pass in the middle for Marchand. Marchand with a spinorama move. Still with the puck, gives it to Chara. Chara's wrist shot stopped by Scrivens, and the rebound goes into the corner. Edmonton outside their own line. That is Eberle chipping it in there, trying to step around Hamilton. Played it well and got it back out. Riley Smith lost it to Nugent Hopkins, who gives it to Schultz. Schultz back to Nugent Hopkins. Stepping into the line. Here's Nugent Hopkins. Shoots, and the glove stopped by Rask on an off-speed pitch, and he gets it with a glove.
Boy, it's been a tough stretch for Tuukka Rask. I mentioned the fact that Monday night he had a couple of bad bounces that went in. The overtime goal, very similar. Off a stick and over his head. Here's another one that Nugent Hopkins getting pressured. You can see the deflection there. Nugent Hopkins with the quick release, though, is able to feel the pressure. Dougie Hamilton's stick deflected that, but what a razor quick reaction by Tuukka Rask to make that save.
Pasternak to center, puts it to open ice, far corner. Krejci races in there after it. Yakupov has got some edge to his game tonight. Here's Lucic now. Got to work it out of the corner, down low for Krejci. And behind the Oiler net, David Krejci centers it out, goes to Lucic. He winds and fires. Scrivens makes the stop. Loose puck in front, and here's Hamlin with a chance to chip it out, and he does.
Well, from late in the second period, this line for the Bruins has been dangerous, haven't they? We got it going in the last 5-6 minutes of that second. Had some good chances here.
I think in the midway point, maybe the second period, certainly somewhere in that second, you started to see the desperation that we expected from the Boston Bruins. that is carried over here, don't you think?
Absolutely. A little more purpose, a little more push, a little more intensity. As you mentioned, the shot total going up with that too.
But the Oilers are hanging in there, hanging tough past the midway point of this third period. Ben Scrivens standing tall right now for the Oilers. Here is Bartkowski, long pass, a nice one up to Paille. Paille steps in over the line. He's given a bump over there by Hendricks. And the Oilers dig it free for Klefbom. Here's Schultz now, steps out of his zone. Pass over to Hero Pakarinen, gets around Bartkowski. Pakarinen now, angled out there by Bartkowski, but stays on the puck. Goes back to the line for Ferris. His wrist shot knocked down right in front of Tuukka Rask and skated away by Cunningham. Back down the ice for Ferris. Lots of room to skate it up the center. The former Boston Bruin banks it off, and Pakarinen does the rest of the job, hammering it in there. Comes the line. Here's Pouliot. Pouliot stepping in, takes the drive, looking more like a pass across, looking for a man in front. Pakarinen was there. Now they try to get it to Fraser. That was red and broke it up. Couple of good rushes there by the Oilers. Krug goes in for Kelly. Kelly steps in. His sharp angle shot. Stopped by Scrivens. Puck goes into the corner. Ericsson's on it. Back down low. Got away from Soderberg. And the Oilers have that get away from Everly now. Here's Hamilton. Wrist shot. And Scrivens makes the save and hangs on as he falls back in towards the goal line. Hanging in there. Battling for everything tonight. Ben Scrivens tracking the puck. He made a couple of spectacular stops and challenging stops like that one. And with that, we'll take a break. 8:20 to go in the third. And Ben Scrivens and the Oilers are trying to make it 5 straight losses for the Bruins tonight. 3-3. Back in Edmonton, you got Todd Nelson trying to get his team to play hard down the stretch, and you got Claude Julien trying to get his team back into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think very different roles for these two men behind their benches, and I'm sure at times both have been happy and displeased.
There's a wrist shot, and it's tipped just wide of the net. A lot of traffic in front of Scrivens. Hamilton again takes the shot. Hamilton's stick breaks, and he has to go to the bench. Purcell hops over the boards. Quick stick by Yakupov, and here comes Purcell. Purcell into the middle, shot by Roy. Bouncing puck over the top of Rask. Knocked down by Hamilton, but a whistle call is made, a penalty call coming up. High stick. We'll sort that out. It's going to be an Oiler power play. Let's get an update from Darren Millard.
Calgary Flames have been denied an 11th rally from a third period deficit for a win. Mikko Koivu in transition and scores. Wild within a point of San Jose for a playoff spot. Calgary takes over sole possession of second in the Pacific. Dave, Craig.
Wow, the Calgary Flames do it again. So Patrice Bergeron in the box.
Well, it was a good play with his stick by Nail Yakupov to knock that one down. Then an aggressive play that Bergeron lost body position, desperate, trying to get a hook in, and gets the stick up high in the face.
And this Oiler power play is 2 for 2 tonight. 4 for their last 6 over the last couple of games. And the Bruins start by sending the puck all the way down the ice. Bergeron for high sticking. Crucial point in the game here. Here's Nugent Hopkins, steps in on the line. Nugent Hopkins peels back in the corner, banks it back to Everly, and it hops away from him, and he's got to go back and get it. Purcell up front along with Hamilton. And again, the Bruins force it. And there's a race. It's Kelly forcing the issue, but Schultz gets there and angles him off. Up to center ice. Here's Everly stepping in there. Again, they're sloppy entering the zone, and they got to go back. And they just get there. Marchand, who had a short-hander on Monday night, was lurking. Here's Teddy Purcell out of the corners. They'll finally try to set up. Nugent Hopkins goes across, one-timer, and the save made by Tuukka Rask.
Boy, a little uncertainty on this power play. As you mentioned, 2 for 2 before. The second unit hasn't even had a chance to get on the ice in the previous 2 because the first unit scored so quickly. finally get a set up there, down deep, up high. Good positioning by Ryan Hamilton, and that's an excellent read by Tuukka Rask. Rask a little bit late getting across, but peeked around the big body of Hamilton, got the glove down, and was able to hold on.
On the shot by Clefbaum. Derek Roy now comes in to take this draw. The second unit is out there for Nelson and the Oilers with 53 seconds to go in the man advantage. The Bruins penalty kill is a lot tougher for the Oilers this time around. Clefbaum gives it up to Roy. He was pressured there by Kelly, but now coming in on the far side there is Pakarinen, tries to center it, does. Laying there for Roy. Rask is down, puck is loose, and the Bruins desperately try to clear it, and it goes into the corner. And now it's sent down. Scrivens out of his net, quickly moves it up to Roy. They'll leave it for Yakupov. Pokes it ahead. Now he's trapped in there, has to get onside and cannot do so. So this power play is really not going anywhere. 16 seconds remaining in it.
Oh boy, a frustrated Nail Yakupov. Just a split second of hesitation. Derek Roy with a nice pass. Pakarinen taking it to the net. And this is one that if Yakupov takes it hard himself, he might be able to beat Tuukka Rask. Instead, he saw Derek Roy at the last second. But credit Kelly getting back and getting a stick in there. And frustrated was Nail Yakupov going to the bench.
Richard's wrist shot handled by Rask. He drops it, keeps the play moving. Bartkowski steps out from behind his own net, chips it off the boards. And this will do it as Patrice Bergeron steps out of the box. So the Bruins kill one off here, a crucial penalty kill for them. Stays 3-3. Wrist shot again, blocker save made by Rask. Here's Marincin with a drive. Just as he takes a hit, he goes up and over into the glass behind Tuukka. Bartkowski with a lead feed for Lucic. Got around one man, but not Gordon. Marincin, nice little move. His bank pass, though, is errant. In behind his man, now here's Krejci trying to step in. David Krejci got into heavy traffic. Now the Oilers with a chance. It's Matt Hendricks one-on-one. Hendricks is not going to be able to step around the D-man there, and it goes into the corner.
Another penalty coming up here to the Bruins as Seidenberg jumped in and was all in on that play at the blue line, and he ends up getting a holding call.
Wow. Back-to-back penalties by the Boston Bruins with 5:05 to go. Oilers right back in the power play when we come back to Wednesday Night Hockey. Welcome back. Are you enjoying Sportsnet 1? Well, now Rogers and Shaw customers can access Sportsnet Magazine Digital Edition at no extra cost. Visit sportsnet.ca/magazine to get access right now.
Well, split-second decision for Dennis Seidenberg going after puck, misses puck. So make sure he gets a body. You can see stick between the legs and a little turnaround. Great discussion in the commercial break as Seidenberg trying to change Dan O'Rourke's mind. And I can tell you from experience, when you're sitting in the box, you're not getting out of it there.
He appears to still be there. So it's back-to-back power plays for the Edmonton Oilers. They're 2 for 3 tonight. Boston just killed one off. Bergeron's going to take this drop against Nugent Hopkins. Up front with Purcell and Hamilton, Eberle, and Schultz along the points. And right away, the Bruins send it down.
That's a tough loss, too. Nugent Hopkins came in at 64% there for the game, so he's had a good night in the face-off dot, but so often Bergeron on his strong side there. Tough to beat.
Pass across, ends up with Nugent Hopkins, goes into the corner for Hamilton. Hamilton steps out, goes to Eberle. Eberle across to Schultz. Back into the corner. Here is Nugent Hopkins now. Back up top for Justin Schultz. Across to Eberle. Here's Schultz. His shot. Rister awfully in boards. Rebound. Purcell's on it. McQuaid's on him. And Bergeron's on the puck, and down it goes.
Great read by Bergeron again. You know, you just have such faith in him as a center iceman. Good work down low by the two defensemen, knowing that they had the support by the center ice.
Look at that quick stick by Kelly, and hustling back to get it is Nugent Hopkins. 1 minute gone to this Oiler power play. 3-3. Nugent Hopkins with a pass inside the line. They come. Just keeps that in. Goes across to Clefbaum. Around the boards, he puts it. Here's Bartkowski hustling after it. Ericsson's there as well, and the Bruins are just putting on a PK clinic right now.
Yeah, you saw earlier on when they were aggressive, it was the quick support and short passes that gave the Oilers success. They were able to break it down. Here, right now, a little bit of a disjointed effort.
Derek Roy carries the puck in past Campbell, and they set up shop. Here's Klefbom now, goes across. Yakupov, one-timer, and Rask makes another stop on Nail Yakupov.
Well, penalty killing is all about trust, and you have to trust, if you're a center iceman, you have to trust your D that they're going to make the play behind you. There's a great example of it there. Bergeron with a great play winning the draw, and then he comes back. Look at 3 Boston Bruins down below the goal line, but they're able to get it away. Yakupov looking for the one-timer, gets a hard shot, but Rask found it.
Here's Fane off the draw. His wrist shot gobbled up by Rask.
And Dave, there's another example of just the pressure off the draw. You know, you're anticipating that Bergeron's going to win it, but when he doesn't, Brad Marchand was there quickly to force a quick shot.
Second best faceoff man in the NHL, but he has taken 500 more faceoffs than Manny Malhotra. Here's a hard shot over the glove of Tuukka Rask. And they get the whistle as the puck was sitting on the netting.
Well, we talked at the beginning about the decision to play Tuukka Rask, and you know, as a head coach, you can never second guess yourself, and there are many reasons, many influences, but to Tuukka Rask's credit, this has not been an easy game for him. A couple of screen shots have gone through, but here at the end, he's been able to get his game on and giving the Bruins yet another chance to win this game.
Battle for that puck off the draw, and it comes to the line. Fane back towards the net, off the glass. Charles there. And they'll reset and throw it around this side. Fane meets it. He's got some room. Fane puts it into the corner. And while Pouliot trying to pick his way out, and Marchand just aggressively took the puck away. Here's Dennis Seidenberg out of the box now, so they've killed off another one. Edmonton 2 for 4 on the night. Couple of moves by Klefbom, and he gets a little help from the backside by Derek Roy. Trying to snap a shot on the back check. There was Krejci breaking that up. And those two are tangled up in behind the play. Shoveled down the ice by Yakupov. Derek Roy and Krejci are just now getting untangled. Here's Torrey Krug into the middle for Krejci. Krejci into traffic. Puck is bouncing. Goes to the boards. Works it back. Krug with a shot. And it got deflected there by Pasternak, but not on net. Now it's Matt Hendricks. The Bang and Crash brothers on the ice for the Oilers. Boyd Gordon and Hendricks. Walking out now is Pasternak. Snaps a wrist shot off of the inboards where it's gathered up by Fane. Pasternak in there on the forecheck immediately, and the Bruins keep it in. Soderberg immediately turns it over to Nugent Hopkins. And it's flipped down and into the Bruins zone now. Under 2 minutes to go, and that one is whistled down against Edmonton. While we have a chance, let's get a Sports Central update from Jamie Thomas and Carly Agro.
Well, thanks very much. A rookie goaltender makes his mark for the Ottawa Senators on this evening.
Yes, and could the Calgary Flames muster some more third-period magic against Minnesota? We will fill you in. See you after the game.
And here, thank you guys, the Edmonton Oilers are trying to muster some third-period magic and beat a team that has beaten them in 13 consecutive meetings. The Boston Bruins try to avoid a 5-game losing streak. That is offside at the Edmonton line.
Yeah, lots at stake for the playoff race for the Bruins, but this game for the Edmonton Oilers is so much focus coming in on a fairly successful road trip where they survived a 2-3-1 6-gamer. Todd Nelson has seen his team come out with a real spirited start, get the lead, but late in that second period, the Bruins did flip the switch and got themselves right back into the hockey game.
Ben Scrivens has made some key stops here in the third period. Minute and a half remaining in it. This one drifts down the ice. Char's got to turn and race back after with a couple of Oilers after him. In behind the net, Roy bumps off the puck and Hamilton comes away. Goes across the ice, and here is Justin Schultz. Again, in case you missed the update from Cassie Campbell, no Anton Lander or Jeff Petrie both left the game with injuries. Hendricks shoots it in there. Kicked aside by Rask. Gordon keeps it deep. Hamilton meets it behind the goal. Comes right out in front. Almost on a platter for Gordon. Banked all the way down there, and that is icing against the Boston Bruins. Smith thought he won that race, but he did not, and Claude Julien is not happy with that call at all.
Boy, lots of discussion at both benches, both coaches. Claude Julien thought for sure, you be the judge. It's at the dot, where are the bodies, who's going to be close to the loose puck, and this is an inside-outside race. Boy, it's almost a dead heat, isn't it? That is a tough one. Marincin, to his credit, kept his feet moving. Personally, I think this is the right call. It was that close, and a real tough one to take and call a real icing.
So they drop it at center ice, and the Oilers send it in. And on the near side by Smith. Smith, right side, shovels it in. Marincin back there with Bergeron all over him. And the loose puck is skated out there by Marchand. Marchand turns and shoots, and another stop made by Scrivens. Hendricks can't shovel it that deep. And it's sent back up for a wide open Marchand. Marchand's wrist shot well wide of the mark, and it goes up and into the netting. And that will get a whistle with 9 seconds to go here in regulation.
I mentioned what was a real good start for the Edmonton Oilers. They came out with a good tempo to their game. They got great saves early on by Ben Scrivens and gave them an opportunity to get in the game.
And they're going to get one more attacking zone face-off here. A timeout has been called. Going to talk this one over.
And why not? For Claude Julien, he's got 9 seconds. He's got plenty of time to make a play. Figures he's not going to need it. The Oilers, with a 3-1 lead, had a chance to really salt this game away. This is the Teddy Purcell goal. Gave him a 3-1 lead and lots of confidence, but 2 goals in a minute 35. Riley Smith beating Boyd Gordon to the net, pouncing on a loose rebound. And then Zdeno Chara, a little give and go back to him. A big hard shot that beat Ben Scrivens, and that's how we are tied at 3.
They still have Pastrnak getting that goal, but it was the big boomer by Chara that tied the game. 6 different goal scorers tonight. The Oilers led 2-0 and 3-1, and the Bruins have yet to lead.
Interesting choice here. Krejci is only 31% in the face-off dot tonight.
Trying to pull it back for Lucic, who's all ready, and instead it's won by the Oilers top baseline. Loose puck! Scrivens with another stop, point blank on Milan Lucic. Wow!
Well, and you look at the clock. Hard to believe there's 4.2 seconds left. You think 9 seconds, how long can that be? You win the drawback, maybe relax a little bit. Look at the Oilers poised to pounce on the loose puck. But Krejci, to his credit, kept the puck alive, and there it was on the doorstep. How many times have we seen Milan Lucic look skyward in this game? It seems like 2 or 3 times a period.
Here's Chara with a blast, and Scrivens got just a piece of that with a blocker as time runs out on the 3rd period. And how about a little overtime in Edmonton tonight? So the Bruins get a point. They'll take that. But they want 2. They need 2.
Well, Claude Julien looked at the percentages there and said, okay, Krejci's having trouble. Who do you bring in? Bergeron. Look at how easily he wins this one. Right back to Lucic. Lucic over to Chara, and Chara can't get the shot on net as 4.2 seconds go by.
Well, the Buffalo Sabres battle the Philadelphia Flyers this Thursday, 7 Eastern, available only on Rogers NHL Game Center Live and NHL Center Ice. Catch it at Rogers.com/NHL. Here we've got a good one tonight between the Edmonton Oilers and the Boston Bruins. Those are the records in overtime, and you know how tough it was. We talked about this today. The first game back after that long Eastern road trip is always tough.
It sure is. You try to bring that energy and you try to get yourself refocused after being on the road, and at times it can be difficult. I think the Oilers have done a good job of getting there. But let's face it, what's at stake for the Bruins is much more. Who you're going to pick if you're in a pool right now? Well, Louis Eriksson has been the guy. He's already scored 2 this year. And right now, Boston has to be feeling like this is their chance to erase what's been a real bad start to a 5-game road trip. Louis Eriksson, you could see Buffalo Sabres in December. And if you're going to put your money, there's one guy who's done it already a couple of times.
And there are the goalies, Scrivens and Rask, both who have made excellent stops tonight. There's a lot of talk earlier in the day whether or not Malcolm Subban would start, and they've needed all of Tuukka Rask's experience to make sure they got to overtime this evening.
I think both goalies have really battled, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, as I said, Rask had a few that he didn't see. Shot through that Purcell went was a screen in front. And Ben Scrivens, to me, the beginning of this game, although the Oilers took the early lead, he made a couple of saves early on that had given his team to get to this spot.
So here we go. Patrice Bergeron to take the draw to open up overtime against Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Eberle's out there up front, along with Klefbom and Schultz along the back end for the Oilers. Bergeron and Marchand and Smith, three forwards out there for Boston. And here's a chance for Nugent-Hopkins. Gets the puck to settle down. Give it a bump there along the boards by Hamilton. Still with it. Eberle now backs up, curls back, gets to the Klefbom. His shot goes over the Boston net. On the loose puck is Nugent-Hopkins. Eberle's down low as well. Gets it to Eberle on the sideboards. Back to the point for Nugent-Hopkins. Good opening shift here by the Oilers. Schultz lost control of that one, and it's knocked down the ice by Bergeron. Look at Scrivens way out of his net. And he tackles Marchand.
Oh, boy. You don't see that very often. Scrivens knew he was in trouble, knew he maybe made a bad decision, and just went all in, didn't he?
Gave him the old body check. Now puck is bouncing around. Yakubov comes away with it. Cuts up ice. Nail Yakubov has got a goal tonight. Tries to cut it in the middle. Krejci battles for that one along with Derek Roy, and he comes up with it. I want the Bruins to send him down the ice again. See Scrivens take out another guy. Marincin with a hard hit there on Pasternak. And it stays inside the Bruins blue line, and now they're going to get a chance to reset and skate it out. Pasternak, the 18-year-old at center ice, dumps it in, bouncing puck on Scrivens, and he will hang on.
Wow, some anxious moments. It's that critical juncture when you make your decision and you go. There's no turning back here. Scrivens doesn't think he can get to the puck, so he focuses on a good open field tackle. And then watch Nail Yakupov focused on trying to get around and got one stick by Lucic and another body by Pasternak.
Face off to the left of Scrivens. And it's won by Carl Soderberg cleanly off of Pouliot. Bruins control off the draw. Here's Bartkowski up high, flips it towards the net, and the basket save made once again by Ben Scrivens.
I like the interesting choice by Claude Julien here. That's 4 shifts in a row that you've got 3 forwards and 1 defense. This is a team that needs the extra point, got an opportunity to win, and that's having some faith in your forwards to play in that role. So often when you get hemmed in and you get down low, forwards don't play it that well, but the Bruins feel they got a good opportunity to win with the 3 forwards.
Living and dying by the sword. Schultz drops it off, sent in there by Andrew Ference, goes in behind the Bruins net. Nugent-Hopkins is there, but Kelly comes up with a puck. Goes up for Soderberg, bounces off his skate, and now Bartkowski's got it with numbers in on the line. Here's Kelly. Kelly's shot stopped by Scrivens and kicked up and out of play.
Well, this is one that, often for a goaltender, you don't mind getting this rebound and getting a whistle. I think this is a bad choice, though, by Scrivens. You've got the only defenseman on the ice jumping up on the play. If you can make a play, that's Bartkowski who's down below the line. If you can kick that one out instead of kicking it up and out, you might get an easy offensive rush the other way.
Boyd Gordon now to take this draw against Bergeron. And they're going to redo this. Is somebody get the toss? No, they're both staying in there. Top 2 face-off men in this game. 2:52 to go in overtime. Gordon pulls it back into the corner. Marchand's on it. Now he leaves it for Bergeron. Back the line. Charles Bergeron. Puck bounced away from him, and now Marchand picks it out of the corner. Brad Marchand, on his last shift, was hit by the goalie on the half boards. Here's Riley Smith now out of the corner. cycles it back. Oilers keeping them to the outside. Here's Marchand now. He's stripped by Benoit Pouliot. And Pouliot skates it away to center. Turned over, and Marchand's got it now, looking for some help. Gets it right back from Charles. Stepping in now, the Bruins come in there, flipping it back to the near side. Here's Smith, blind shoots, and that is tipped right on, and Scrivens has got it again.
This is a play that Riley Smith was going to change, actually, and it was a long cross-seam pass. He was going to the bench, but Krejci was going to him, so he curled back, kept it onside, and look at the battle in front. A good tip once again. Krejci, who made the pass across, goes to the front, gets the tip, but Scrivens holds on.
Derek Roy now against Krejci on this draw, and Roy wins it. Back-to-back face-off wins for the Oilers in that same circle. Lead pass up for Roy. Roy looking for Yakupov, who was wide open near side. He goes banging and crashing in against Hamilton, but the Bruins have the puck. Hamilton gets it back. He can skate. Here's Hamilton now. Cross ice. Krejci puts it towards the net. That's partially deflected. Goes into the corner. Pasternak back towards the goal, and whoa, that was tipped up and over the stick of Scrivens. In the corner, Lucic is there, so is Krejci. Around the boards it goes, it's going to be met by Krug. Torrey Krug walks the line, tries to step around Yakupov, stops up now, winds, shoots, looks for the tip in front. Puck is loose, and nobody there for the Bruins, and it's swept aside by Roy, but not out. Krejci out of the corners, Pasternak towards the net, and look out, loose puck. Scrivens thought he had it, and Lucic missed a wide open net. Back to the line, big pressure. There's the big shot, knocked down in front. And the Bruins can't get it. They can't buy one right now in overtime.
For the sixth time, Lucic looking up in the air and broke his stick going to the bench, Dave. He's been a frustrated Bruin all night long.
That was a tap-in. Scrivens thought he had possession. Here's Carl Soderberg. He'll step in there. Nugent Hopkins watching him as the big guy winds his way all the way around the edge. Gets it to Hamilton, who sends it right back in. Here's Klefbom now. Soderberg digging for it. Comes free for Kelly. Back in there for Eriksson. Eriksson towards the net. The magic man for the Bruins this season in overtime. Couldn't get a shot. Comes out to center. 20 seconds to go. Winding it up is Ryan Nugent Hopkins at center. Leaves it for Purcell. Purcell still with it. Finds the lane man. Klefbom. Wrist shot. Knocked down by Riley Smith in front of the Bruins net. Hamilton to Kelly. And that is it for OT. We're going to need a shootout. Pretty entertaining overtime, and this guy, he's probably wondering what he has to do to get one.
Well, that look says it all, doesn't it? The frustration for Lucic, battling in front with Fane, gets there, the puck's there for a split second, thinks he's got a wide open net, just misses it, no worse feeling going to the bench. The stick's fault, and the stick takes a beating.
The Shootout, brought to you by Scotiabank, proud supporter of over 5,000 community hockey teams and Canada's 5th season.
So, back for the conclusion of this good one tonight. For the second straight game, the Oilers are going to a shootout. Ben Scrivens was not in that game, and that shootout started with Victor Fost and ended with Richard Bachman. But it'll be Scrivens tonight, and the Oilers will shoot first by the looks of things.
And lots of discussion here, and the officials had enough. It's time to get going. This game's gone long enough. The Bruins really wanted a penalty there as Eriksson was going in late, and we're looking for a hook, didn't get it. A little confusion here of who's going first. So
it's going to be the Bruins.
It is the Bruins. So many teams want to go first and put the pressure on, but maybe when you're not scoring that much, you feel good about your goaltender.
So Claude Julien starts with the defenseman Torrey Krug is 1 for 3 this season in no.
So an interesting strategy as Todd Nilsson was looking for a save early on, and Ben Scrivens, like he did early on in this game, does it. He reads it well, goes down and bites a little early, but he battles hard to stay up with his glove and get a piece of that one.
Derek Roy now for the Edmonton Oilers. His 11th shootout attempt this season. He's 3 for 10. He's in there, and he's stopped by Rask.
At times when you go to that backhand there, you're just hoping that the goaltender gets a little off balance and goes forward. You can instead, Rask just read it. He didn't move at all, didn't go for the first fake, and that was an easy save for him.
David Pastrnak, 25th overall pick of the 2014 draft. Here he comes looking for the first goal of this shootout. No, fired it high over the glove of Scrivens.
Well, slow pace, a little zigzagging, trying to get the goaltender to bite for a split second. Scrivens a little bit forward in his crease, but stayed up there well and was an intimidating look at it there.
Jordan Eberle now to give the Oilers the lead. In on Rask. No. Jordan Eberle does not have a career goal yet against the Boston Bruins, and he couldn't bury that one either.
Almost got himself into real trouble. A few too many moves, and watch the real estate runs out of room, and Rask didn't bite on anything. And when you're going on your forehand there, it's hard to get that puck up quickly, and Rask kicks out the toe.
Riley Smith has a goal tonight. Here he comes. Third round of the shootout. Stopped by Scrivens. Looks back. Wait a minute. No. Whoa.
Boy, that one for Scrivens that you want to make sure you don't make too quick a move and knock it in yourself. Riley Smith, that little stop up, tries to go 5-hole, and Scrivens, as you look at it coming up from the net cam, feels it in his skate, and that's an excellent job of getting the stick down and blocking it out and making sure it doesn't go in.
Teddy Purcell has a goal tonight. This to win it. Stopped by Rask.
Boy, the one thing you see on these shootouts with Rask is he's just not biting. I mean, part of the stop up and going side to side is to find an opening. It's just not there. The 5-hole looked like it might be open, but Teddy Purcell didn't quite get the shot he wanted.
We don't have a goal yet in this shootout. Here comes Patrice Bergeron, round number 4. Nope. Scrivens squeezed it with the pads and keeps it out.
Yeah, you know what? Bergeron's upset with himself. He handcuffed himself. Not sure what went into his mind, but you could see the reaction. Again, a fake by Scrivens that he bit, but Bergeron didn't get the shot away in time.
And once again, the Oilers with a chance to win it, and here comes Ryan Nugent Hopkins in, and he fired it wide. Rask got just a piece.
You know what? That's a shot that Nugent Hopkins has had success with. Almost that Jussi Jokinen shot that you've seen where you go over to your forehand quickly and try to out-quick the goaltender that blocker side, and that one Rask just stayed out far enough and made it a difficult shot to make.
Here comes Louis Eriksson. He also has a goal tonight. In there on Scrivens. No, tried the old Peter Forsberg, and it didn't work.
Well, as a goaltender, when you're watching players, you got to read the book and know what he likes in his arsenal, and that is one that Eriksson has used, and he's used it to success in the past. But Scrivens able to put the brakes on. You can see with that right pad, put the brakes on and held on.
Nail Yakupov taking a run at this one. He loves this moment. Here he comes for the win, and he lost control of the puck. He was doing laps in his own end, winding it up, winding the crowd up, and the puck rolled away from him.
Don't you love that look by Tuukka Rask? He's going, hey kid, calm down there. It was going to be a pretty one. He was winding up, but you could see the puck started rolling, and once that happened, he got out of sync.
6th round of the shootout. Marchand's doing the couple of laps, and here he comes. Brad Marchand. And he lost control of the puck, too.
Well, it's a goaltender's night, isn't it? As these shooters are really having a hard time finding a hole. Tried different speeds, you tried stopping up, and there's one just out of control. Again, without the dry scrape, it does have an effect with so much more snow on the ice here.
The Bruins put Matt Fraser on waivers. The Oilers claimed him late December, and now he's got a chance to beat the Bruins, and he can't beat Rask.
Well, what a play by Todd Nilsson to give him an opportunity. Fraser in and out of the lineup, and would have loved to have a chance to put this one by Tuukka Rask. Just look at the style of Rask, though. So calm, efficient in movement, and didn't bite on anything.
Okay, Simmer. Somebody's got to score here.
Forehand, backhand shove.
David Krejci in on Scrivens. No, sir. Scrivens shuts him down.
Yeah, he faked going to the backhand, tried to go back, and these goaltenders are just standing their ground, forcing players to try to make a move.
A couple of seasons ago, Benoit Pouliot scored 16 goals as a Boston Bruin, and now he's got a chance to win it for the Oilers. In the 7th round, Pouliot. No!
And a little bit of jawing by Tuukka Rask, too, as I think that one is an opportunity. Pouliot maybe had him. Rask did bite on that a little bit. Watch the reaction. Just for a split second, looked like he might get it up and over, but not quite able to get the shot he wanted on the backhand.
Carl Soderberg now for the Bruins. Round number 8. Soderberg stopped by Scrivens. And this is starting to look like that shootout the Oilers had against San Jose a couple of weeks ago. What was that, 12 rounds, 13 rounds?
No confidence here for the shooters, and the goaltenders look solid. Scrivens stayed big. He stayed out at the top of his blue and able to shut the 5-hole at the last second. It was Hendricks who cheered on Klinkhammer, if you remember, at the end of that long one. Well, Hendricks gets to get one for Klinkhammer's young baby.
That's right. He's watching on TV. Hendricks in, stopped by Rask. So we still don't have, we had 16 shots and nobody has scored.
I think Hendricks just trying to keep it simple here, a quick wrister. And Rask easily knocks that down. Lucic could have ended it at the end of overtime, and he's hoping to try to give the Bruins a chance here.
He's had a couple of great chances tonight. Here comes Milan Lucic, stopped by Scrivens.
Don't you get the sense, because of the extra snow out there, the players not wanting to make too many moves? It's definitely not a Patrick Kane type night. Players are coming in trying to quick shoot the puck through the 5-hole, and Scrivens once again, his timing was impeccable there.
Eero Pakarinen now. A recent call-up for the win. No, Rask got it with a glove and held on.
Boy, did you see Rask's reaction at the last second? He knew that he made the save, but he knocked it himself. That had a chance to hit his own stick and go back in. Rask out challenging, and look at the quick reaction. He closed his legs. As he knocks it with his stick, he has the presence of mind to make sure it doesn't go through.
Here comes Dougie Hamilton to open up round number 10. In, and he fired that one wide.
And I'll put a pot of coffee on. I don't know when this one's going to end. That's not even a shot on goal, as maybe a little bit of room on that glove side. Scrivens played the percentage as well and gave him it.
So Justin Schultz is going to try his hand. Here he comes to put this one to bed. No, he got a piece of the post too.
Definitely got a piece of the iron, but it was also a piece of the glove of Tuukka Rask now cheerleading, yelling at his players to get Chris Kelly a chance. Look at how far out and aggressive. You know, if you're on top of your game offensively, you see a goaltender outside the blue, you got to fake that shot, get him, and go around him.
Chris Kelly, round number 11. Oh, man. This is unbelievable.
Now, we saw in the first period, it was the crossbar that helped Ben Scrivens. Scrivens well out as well. There wasn't a lot of room there. That's a tough shot for Kelly to make.
29-year-old Ryan Hamilton from Oshawa. A recent call-up as well, and now he's got a chance to be the hero tonight against Rask. Nope.
Boy, it's hard to believe, isn't it? Just nobody can find a way past either goaltender. Hamilton trying to come in, much like that fake that Hendricks had, instead of going blocker. Big Z now a chance for the Boston Bruins, and the crowd reacting to that.
Big Z with his first shootout attempt of this season. I'd like to know how many he's got in his career. So here we go. Yeah. And he did it. He winds up with a slap shot, and Scrivens says, yeah, is that all you got?
Well, you really don't know what to expect, and you can see the slow body moving in. What did he have? There's a great vantage point, and no, I think that Ben Scrivens gave him a little bit of glove side and took away the short side.
Martin Marincin now, another defenseman, in, scores! And who had Martin Marincin in the pool? Oilers win it! The 12th shooter for the Edmonton Oilers is Martin Marincin, and the Boston Bruins have lost 5 in a row.
Well, with all the drama and the strategy of what are you going to do, all the thoughts that go through your head, this is one that just gets away from Marincin and goes right in the fly hole. The reaction from Rask was instantaneous, off the ice, a la Tim Thomas used to do, but trying to pull it back was Marincin, and it went right through the 5-hole. What a great moment for the young defenseman.
Great moment for the Oilers. It was a good, entertaining night, but the Boston Bruins needed 2 points tonight. They leave with 1, and their challenge to hang on to a wild card spot in the Eastern Conference gets a little tougher, but it's a feel-good night on that bench right there. The Edmonton Oilers, after losing a shootout on Monday night to wrap up their 6-game road trip, is fist pumps all around tonight on home ice, and they finally beat the Boston Bruins for the first time since October of 2000. Here are your 3 stars. Ben Scrivens, why not? You stop. In the shootouts, you're going to get a star. Zdeno Chara gets the 2nd star, and Martin Marincin is star number 3 with the shootout winner. That's the story from Edmonton tonight on Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey. It was a fun one. On behalf of Cassie Campbell and Craig Simpson, good night. Here's Jamie and Carly.